What are you?
Keep that fire off my back or this reactor blows, and then we're all toast.
Cease your exist.
Get up, friend. We're not done with you yet.
Alright, you.
That's the power of Valkyrian engineering.
Like, any life forces at all.
You're clearly on that split job.
Bastard, what are you doing? Get out of my way.
Taste plasma worms.
Attention mission impediment. You may be unaware, but you are currently in the way of 4 armed-for-action Stargate command operatives.
Some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
I am a Colonel ZS2C, not some private you can frighten with your threats. Colonel Frederick Steiner.
Private Lonnie Conway.
Halt!
Get them going now.
Spell me Angel.
For me.
All you get is one.
Yeah.
Hey, that's one more than we had before.
I think this guy was not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, stand up. You are a soldier of the Valkyrian army. You do not have my permission.
Are you a
Stand
man
up.
or a mouse?
Where's that? Oh.
Hey!
Is the pawn the soldier of the Valkyrian army?
Yes, he is a soldier.
Suicide bomber.
Is he
And he is. No,
is he a pawn
get
in your
up here.
plans?
You have one job and one job alone, and
Is
you
he a
have failed
pawn
to
in
do
your
it.
plans, Brian?
Yes.
Do what?
Is he a pawn in your plan?
He is a pawn in my plan.
I approve this method.
And he's upside down on his head.
We have been.
He's not upset. He's happy.
We
In
have
the
20-minute
Valkyrian
recording
army,
of
Xana,
no
I
one.
like what I'm saying.
Spencer's here.
Yay!
Not sure how long he's been here, but he's here now.
Good like 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah, we were definitely distracted.
Are we ready to go?
Right.
No.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
tabletop just crashed on me as I attempted to join. So
Oh.
give me a
Well,
second.
you can
yeah,
go
we'll
full
walk-
screen.
Yeah, just join Walt's stream.
Wait.
Give me a moment.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna do a take 2.
Yeah.
See if that works.
He's having some technical difficulties.
Apologies for the late arrival.
Oh,
I
that's
didn't
okay.
expect
You're okay.
my-
We were getting the silly out, like usual.
Why did they have to make such a gross noise for the startup thing for
We counted on the
tabletop?
coffee makers. It's
Nah.
optionally on one.
I don't know.
Blood and guts.
And death. Well, no, not death yet. The death will come shortly.
Hopefully. Hopefully it's not us.
Oh,
Die.
Spencer, if you might be happy to know that I have been educating Dan on, or well, Dan and I have been talking about Halo weaponry, specifically Mac guns and stuff.
Awesome.
And I have been talking with him about Star Wars weaponry, specifically rotary blaster cannons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still a bit not happy about the whole Fallout gun fiasco, so we're trying to come up with a list of better stuff for me to sell. No offense, Dan, but like, lore consultant's got a lore consultant, you know? Anyway,
Okay. Meg will be back in a moment. She went to go get some salt for her potato chips because I apparently bought the lightly salted. And lightly salted potato chips deserve to not exist. They belong in the same category as lutefisk and liver.
nice. Hey, Dan.
Yeah. Hey, you did it.
literally a encyclopedia of most Star Wars small arms from about the prequel trilogy era.
And gun.
I think I might have that PDF actually.
Yeah, so let's use it.
Okay, I'm going to write down the talking order. We're gonna roll initiative for talking order for when I need in those tough spots where I need to have people talk one at a time. So Megan wants me to roll for her, so go ahead and roll d20 for talking initiative.
Dude, we've got a dice spot on the Discord, and you can just type it in and roll it.
Or we have dice in the game.
2, 3.
Can I volunteer my role to? Can I trade roles with Steiner?
Sure.
Okay,
What?
mine was an 18.
Oh,
Steiner,
I
18
mean,
now. I'm a 3.
I'm okay with going last.
No, because Walt has nothing to say.
12.
Which is why you should go first.
May I ask why I have an initiative of 1 but a dexterity of 2?
Dexterity and initiative are different things.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, but dexterity is one of the influencing factors of initiatives. So if I have a modifier of 2 for dexterity, then I don't understand how I have an initiative of lower than that. Anyway.
It just is. It just is. That's all I know. Let's see here.
Okay, so that.
Okay, Kornov gets a 16. What was Angel's roll?
12.
Thank you.
Angel, you can go ahead and watch the stream.
I would say I should roll for
okay.
myself, but that would be stupid.
Oh, you are? Oh, you are?
Megan, should I roll initiative for my speaking order?
No.
No, you're the DM. You can just cut
He's a
people
Daniel
off.
Master, come on.
Right.
Okay, so let me rearrange this list. So it becomes Steiner, followed by Kornov, followed by Lonnie, followed by Angel, and as fabulously as always, followed up by Walt at the rear.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay!
Last but most certainly not least.
Jericho.
Oh yeah, Jericho. Well, he doesn't talk.
He's
I made him
selectively
almost practically mute. He almost says
He is
nothing.
selectively mute.
Yes. Well, this is just an area where I need to improve because I'm not the best at NPC talk. So, more practice, I think I'll get better at it.
Yep.
Okay. So that's talking order. So when I get your attention, I'm gonna resort to that so that we can keep the communication clear. At certain points, if I sort of sense that things are going a little bit slowly, I'll turn on a timer, and then when the timer goes off, something new will happen. So you'll have a determined amount of time to respond. So I don't know if that means you guys want to hash it out or what. That's up to you. I'll kind of decide in the moment when that's necessary. That way we don't stagnate. What else? That die is very, very distracting.
Very distracting.
I'm just trying to see what it looked like. I just kept turning it.
Okay. Should I open with the Lord's Prayer again? Because I keep forgetting to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here.
Hold on a
Alright.
second.
Alright. God our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And thank you for
Amen.
allowing us to gather,
Yes.
even though we may not be in the same rooms. Okay, we left off with you guys walking back into the well, actually you've never been there, so walking back would be wrong. You were walking up to the entrance of the sort of manufacturing cave that has been scouted out by I believe it was 2 SG teams, so I'm going to roll with 2, that there were 2 there. And currently Lonnie and Kornov are riding a gigantic mythosaur who is booking it the opposite direction. So there's rapidly becoming an increasing amount of distance between the two of you. You have not identified Lily. However, if you remember a comment I made last month, which when it was kind of I didn't really state it very publicly. Lily is likely to be with the other witches, since she's abducted to be a witch in training. So,
That's fun.
leave that up to you. I believe Steiner may have had something he wanted to say. I'm not sure.
Since we have 8 guys here and there's only 5 people in front of us, I say just let them deal with this priority and we go back up top.
I mean, I second that because I'm not down there, and we've been down there for quite a while.
Yeah.
I say we go
Angel
up top.
already shot one too.
Oh wait, no, what? No, I'm just. I'm
No,
just
you
flagging them.
last game, remember?
I know.
Got a little
So, did we
trigger.
inform the other SG backup units that there were, like, supernatural shadow figures trying to fucking strangle you?
Wait, what? When did this happen?
When did that
This
happen?
was in the dungeon crawl.
Yeah, in the dungeon crawl, like, there are literal ghosts in them, their caves.
Nope, you never said anything other than to your teammates.
Well, let's say that we informed them of that situation before they went into a different route, because that's something they should know.
So let's just brief them on everything we know about the cave and get them to come down, and y'all come up.
Yeah, Steiner is with the team still, so he'd be able to fill them in.
There you go.
Okay.
Coincidentally, you hear Colonel Steiner come in.
This is Colonel Steiner. What do you want?
This is Colonel Cole, calling for Colonel Steiner and team. We see a rather large shape moving across the valley. Are you aware? Over?
What is this shape? You have to give me more details than just a shape.
He, you hear a brief, like 20 seconds of silence, and then he comes back on the radio and he says, "It appears to be a giant creature."
In the distance, you hear the mythosaur let out a massive roar.
Ah, yes, that would be Felipe. He is our new pet. We have
Yes! Wait, can I comment? Do I have the power to comment? Or am I...
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Hey, Colonel Cole, this is...
You hear Cole.
Thanks, Felipe. Yeah, so this is Felipe the Mythosaur. He's my friend. No need to worry. He won't attack any of our men. He's gonna help us deal with the, witch problem we've got. Thanks,
cut off
Felipe.
by the
I
radio.
appreciate your input.
Cole says, "Okay, can you
Just leave
explain
it
the
at that. That's
situation? Because last I checked, you did not have a giant creature in your back pocket. Over there.
Yeah, we did.
Colonel Cole,
We rescued it.
we rescued it. They were, long story short, they were torturing it for blood so they could make a magic spell potion thing. I don't really know what was going on there. Anyway, we stopped it, and now they can't make witch drugs anymore, so now we're gonna get rid of the witches.
He comes back on the radio. Is there a threat? Do you need assistance?
I don't. The others might.
Colonel Cole,
No,
do you
I think
need
we're good.
additional troops? Do you need air support?
Is Koronov on the radio? I'm assuming since Lonnie is on the radio, Koronov is also on the radio. Plus, we're on the surface, as you
Yeah.
can see from the
I'd
crowd.
suppose so, though he probably...
Cool, this is Korinov. Fire
Wait.
support would be nice, but given this is a hostage situation and we already have a big freaking blizzard down on the ground, I'm not sure how safe that would be. We'll advise if any updates happen.
Koronov, they probably need men underground. I think that's what he was mostly asking.
We have plenty of men underground. We have 8 soldiers with us, and then however many of us packed there are here.
Yes,
I would say it is quite adequate.
Well,
there are other facilities on the surface, though. We sent men to those places, right?
yes, we did.
Yes, you have one on, let me zoom in here. So I'm going to poke on the map here. This is where the temple is, the main temple. So over here somewhere you have a troop. Over here, or a squad. Over here you have a squad. And then in the cave there are 2.
Wait, where is the temple?
The temple
Can
is.
you draw, like, a dot
yeah,
on
I'll
it?
draw the.
At the top of the valley, it's the thing that we got massacred at when we first came here and then retconned it because that was...
No, that never happened.
That didn't happen. What are you talking about?
Don't talk like this.
Don't worry, it's just my precognition talking.
I think that would be called
There's a
post-cognition.
bullet that fired that actually wasn't fired.
What bullet fired? There was no bullets that were fired.
I'll pretend like it didn't happen if you don't
I'm
want.
confused.
You're fired!
Literally, can we make it canon that, like, Koronov is able to make fourth wall breaks and reference retcons because of his precog?
I would appreciate it if you didn't. I find
We
retcons
don't need a
extremely
Deadpool
annoying.
situation here.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
So let me outline on the map where Mr. Felipe is.
Mr.
Yes.
Felipe!
Where is Felipe?
I would
Oh,
like
there
to
he
know
is.
that
He's right here.
Someone
And then I put a mini Felipe on the map.
Oh, you did!
Ah,
Yay!
Ah!
Felipe had a baby!
Did you see?
Uh-oh.
You deleted them both, Dan!
I did, that was an accident. That was an accident. That was an
Hold
accident.
on! Everybody stay calm.
Yes. Panic! Everybody panic!
No. I refuse.
We need SG team over there.
I refuse to panic. I don't like Pam.
Got SG, and then SG. And I hit delete. What I meant to do is hit minus to make them really small.
The minus. So Lonnie is just floating in the air? Is that what's going on?
Is she?
Well, she's right up there.
Oh, you are?
Oh, no. She's
Okay.
on the map.
That would probably
You
be
make
the
this
size
more
of the
to scale.
mythosaur. It's just not rendering because it's too big.
No, it got deleted.
Ah,
It was an accident. It's fine.
gotcha.
This guy does not belong.
I will attempt to fix it.
One of these things is not like the others.
One of these things is a giant lizard.
One of these things is a giant wizard.
Oh no.
None of these things are named Felipe.
A wizard on a lizard. Woo, woo, woo.
Two wizards on a lizard, because we're both space wizards, technically.
There we go.
Woo, woo,
Two
woo.
wizards.
That's
on a
Wizards on a
lizard.
lizards.
All right. So as you guys are discussing, Felipe makes it another grid space, and let me give you a quick narration of what's going on. As I'm going to back up just a slight bit to the point where he broke out of the cave, and in fact,
And I'm free.
I think I might even have a
free
cave
falling.
saved cave map. Let me see if I do or if I never uploaded it.
Saved map, a cave map.
Nope,
Okay.
never uploaded it.
The
Okay,
original
that's fine.
size Felipe has been returned.
Felipe
Yay.
breaks out of the ground and roars in pain and anger as the earth shakes. He turns around, quite confused, in desperation, looking for his tormentors. And he sees the main temple across the valley, just tiny little speck, and begins to walk in that direction. As he walks, he limps and groans with every step.
Aww.
As he continues forward, he picks up a little bit more speed, and his limp, he cares less and less about his limp, and he very soon breaks out into a trot. And the two of you riding him have to grab on with all your strength to hold on and not fall off the back of the mythosaur.
Do we need to do the
I'm
saving
going
throw?
to assume that a check is involved here.
Let's get into that. I would like you to do a strength, or
Yes.
I think it would be strength. If you want to argue for another one, I'm willing to entertain that.
Can we
I
do
would
animal
argue
handling?
Dex.
I'm
Partially.
okay with both of those because it's kind of
Yeah.
it kind of covers all three of those.
Okay, I'll do
Yeah.
animal handling. Total of 7 or 8.
Okay. And did Kornov say what he got?
I haven't rolled yet.
Oh, I see.
I'm still pulling up my character sheet because my computer is very...
Gotcha. Okay, I'll narrate
Hold
what
on,
happens
I've got a
to
copy of your character sheet.
Lonnie as soon as I roll
Korinov, which one are you checking?
Dex.
Yeah,
Dex saving throw.
I believe
Oh,
that
that's a +4.
agility would be the thing then. Yeah, acrobatics.
Acrobatics? Oh, okay, that's +2.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's helping me with character referencing of skills and stuff. So
Yeah.
I have a helper today. It'll make things go more smoothly, I hope.
15.
You both pass, actually.
Yay!
It is such a big creature, and it has so many handholds that even though Lonnie slips, she manages to grab another one. And so, she's not going to fall off the creature. Well, let's say you're
Kornov
maybe
uses
a little bit
his
more
cat-like
uncomfortable.
reflexes to maintain
Yeah, that's
balance.
fine.
But you are still on the mythosaur, and it is charging forwards. And it has now advanced another space, and it is getting very, very close. In fact, I would like to have both of you roll perception as well.
Perception?
And then after you roll perception, I'll tell you what you see, and then I'll move back to the other half of the group. And we'll decide what to do.
Total 16.
Okay?
Koronov, your perception modifier is +4.
Yep, I've got pulled up now, so I can just alt tab.
Awesome.
Oh, okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
16.
Perfect.
Same
You
for-
both see a group of figures standing out in front of the temple, just on the edge, just down from the cliff face. So if I draw a line here, I'll do it in a color that's easy to see.
Permission to use macro binoculars, sir.
Yeah, be my guest.
Would that be another perception?
No. I'll use your check. We'll just give you more detail since you're using the binoculars. You see a line of witches all standing side by side, and one of them in the middle is a different race than the rest, and it has two witches standing on either side of it that are of the same race. They're just a little bit shorter in stature. I will give you a visual. Hopefully I have it. Yep. This is what she looks like.
Can you see?
Oh.
Oh, creepy. Don't like.
Yep.
Animal.
There are 3 of those.
Admiral Akbar's uglier cousin.
Yeah, I highly doubt anyone other than a seasoned
ugly
Star
ant.
Wars nerd would know what this is. It's very, very.
Yeah, this is deep lore stuff. Don't worry about it.
No.
Actually, no.
Stuff, I imagine.
Think the guys that made the Star Forge.
This is actually a different race. You're close though.
But, like, it dates back
Oh.
to that time period.
He's close, but he's not quite right.
I don't know too much about KOTOR, but I do know there were cottons or.
Bingo.
Yeah, like, we're talking
Yeah.
30,000 years
What
before the
species?
movies.
This is a ricotta.
Or ricotta.
Yeah.
Are they extinct?
Since
in modern Star Wars?
you would probably pick this up from some of the lore that you read in that
The
book.
Ricottans are
These
the ones
are
that made the Star Forge.
creatures that are very, very in tune with the dark side of the Force.
Oh, nice. That
Yes.
explains the weird head.
Yeah, they're in general quite evil creatures.
Walt concurs with this analysis.
Megan is head is.
Purge!
All right, she is not, in fact, ginormous. So let me make her more of a correct size here. And we're gonna go ahead. Eli, would you do me a favor and take the SG guys and toggle them so they do not snap to grid?
Yes.
Thank you much. And I'm gonna bring in some more witches. now.
Yay, another thought to be extinct race.
Well, this is way before Star Wars.
I'm clicking the wrong
No,
things.
this is like after episode 1.
No.
Fight.
Let's just say
Okay.
that is kind of a moot point anyway, so we can just...
Alright, never mind.
Alright, these 3 ladies need to be not snap to grid either. There we go. Go. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I wasn't thinking. Alright. This is not an accurate indication of how many there are, but it's a visual. So that's all that matters for now. And the middle one is there. Cool. Alright, and now I'm going to go back to the cave real fast. And does anyone care to discuss over comms what just happened?
Hey, visual and hostiles. 3 of unknown race, and the rest are.
Human.
I'm basically relaying
Usually.
details. I don't remember verbatim what you just said.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of witches.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of witches, and the mythosaur is angry.
Cool.
Also, one of the witches has a really freaking weird head, and I don't like it. You should come up here and help me murder it.
I support this decision.
Okay. You you are discussing, and you hear a call come in from Colonel Cole, and he says, "Colonel Steiner, over."
He's muted.
Out of character, I think we have a problem.
Colonel Steiner, over. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I have returned. Yes.
Okay, Colonel Steiner, I believe you have hostiles moving on the position of your. What is this? I'm gonna call it the monster. They're.
It is a mythosaur.
The only way I can describe this is it looks like a giant molehill moving towards the mythosaur from our position. It is a good, I'd say, a quarter mile off, but it's moving towards you rapidly.
Towards Felipe?
This is something else.
Oh. No, I mean, the molehill is moving towards Felipe, or
Correct.
Felipe is moving towards the molehill?
No, the molehill is making a beeline for Felipe, and Felipe, as far as you know, does not see it, and is headlong charging towards these witches.
Oh, well, then we need to get on. We need to get out of this cave and onto the ground so I can see what priorities going on. And leave these soldiers to fight these other packages.
Oh.
I think that's an excellent
They are
idea.
very broken.
Let's move these units off the board, and we will keep you guys. And I will use the map that I had made to show you what's going on.
Is there staying down there?
Yeah,
Dan,
you can just
the
put it there.
soldiers.
That should do just very nicely.
Just dandy.
Just dandy. All right, take this and bigger. That kind of did not work as planned, but it'll do. We might need to resize these guys a little bit. There we go.
Oh, wait, this was an SG guy. Or is
Yes,
he up
he
here?
was over there. Yep, that guy was over there. These guys are in the tunnel, in the cave. They both signify squads. And then you guys are currently not out yet.
And then we still have full-size Felipe with Lonnie and Koronov over here to the side.
Yes. We're gonna. Yeah, let's replace little Felipe, because we're gonna make this map now. So he is gonna be about that big. Felipe, what are you doing? You guys are floating. Okay. No. Yeah, that's about as big as I want him to be. Oh, you know what I just realized is I misread my own map. The orange is actually the valley. Can we just ignore what's in the dark brown? That was supposed to be the valley. I forgot, and I drew it differently.
That's fine.
You can just ignore that.
Everything's fine.
My bad. Okay, so there are still 3 mini temples out there, so I'll draw them in white.
You already drawn them in white?
I'm just going to pretend those 3 littlest ones are not real because of my mistake.
Speaking of retcons.
The GM makes mistakes. It's fine.
Everything's fine. Everything's
Everything's
fine.
fine.
Not trying to roast you too much, Dan. Just thought it was funny. That's all.
It is funny. I recognize
This is
the.
most certainly true.
I recognize the funniness of my own mistakes. Hopefully, without being too.
Brazen.
Yes. Whatever. There you go.
Yeah, don't be too raisin, Dan.
Yeah, I prefer
Really sucks
craisins
the life
anyway.
out of you.
So he has effectively gotten within swiping distance of them, and he has ground to a stop. And those of you on his back can see why. There is a shimmering force field in between him and the witches, and all of the witches, or not all of the witches, but the one in the middle, rather, seems to be focusing very intently on something.
I would like to calm in and talk to the others.
As far as you know, this is where the force field covers. Without further investigation.
Hey, there's a force field or a shield or something. There's something blocking us. We can't get to the witches, and I think the middle one is like casting a spell. Felipe is really angry.
That's
Okay,
accurate.
okay. Here's a thought. Have you tried shooting it?
No, not yet.
What special attempts?
Are you saying I should shoot
This
the
is
force field?
Koronov. Request orbital strike on these coordinates.
No, Felipe, out of the way. Get
Don't
Felipe
kill my
back,
pet.
or else you will kill him.
Yeah, I don't think Koronov has the
Felipe
authority for
is
that. I think
big
that needs to
enough
come from
that
Steiner.
It will not hit him.
I think that needs to come from Steiner.
We're aiming at the field, not danger close.
Felipe is right there. You can't aim at the field and not hit Felipe.
He did hit the field, so he is right
As,
on top of him.
Has beam weapons like super precise?
Okay, I'm going to restate what I said just a moment ago. Koronov does not have the authority to call in an airstrike from a USAF ship. Steiner does. Koronov is still a stranger to you guys, so...
Man,
Request, not order.
well, I would like to pull out my blaster, my sonic carbine rifle.
Oh, you're going to do the thing? You know the thing?
The thing?
I'm
I'm gonna shoot it, yeah. I'm gonna shoot the force field.
She's going to endow it with you know the thing.
Yep. Okay.
How does that work?
Alright.
I love...
And we have a 17 for attack.
I love out of context Biden quotes. They're the best. You see the pulse from your sonic rifle come off, kind of it's kind of bubbly. It looks bubbly.
Because it's Geonosian.
It impacts the force field and is dissolved. It's sort of diffused into the whole thing, and you see it get a little bit brighter where it impacts. Force field gets a little bit brighter, and then it goes back to its normal color.
One sec. I'll be right back, guys.
So, you know what that means, right?
No.
Her shot was ineffective to the shield. It blocked the shot, and then it went in, got momentarily brighter where it was hit, and then it went back to normal.
Hey,
What does this mean?
Should fear and love God.
Alright, so the Mythosaur wasn't able to pass through the field, which means it's not a ray shield generator. Presumably it's the same kind of crazy field that was in the caves.
Alright, where are we?
Potentially.
So it absorbed my blast,
It absorbed your blast.
and it looks stronger or the same?
It looks the same.
Okay.
Can
Yeah.
I try and figure out if I can feel, like, what's going on with this thing? Like, because, like, there was, like, presumably a weird feeling about the field in the cave. Like, would I recognize any feelings similar to
You
that?
mean
You
with
know,
the force?
I like that idea. I would like to see how you try it. I'll let you know how successful. you
Okay,
are.
what check should I roll?
So you gotta flip a coin, and then tell me if you got heads or tails. Heads is a light side point. Tails is a dark side point, and then
Tails is 2 dark side points.
well, no, it's only 1, but you take 2 morality,
Oh,
2 negative morality.
Tails.
Okay, would you like to spend a dark side point to learn more about the shield? You will lose 2 morality, but you're currently, if I remember right, you're sitting at completely neutral of 50 out of 100.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'll be right
Now-
back. I need water.
Now you roll a d20 and you tell me what number you get.
Alright. So there's no check to influence this. Gotcha.
Correct.
Interesting.
I mean, you could use I believe
19.
it's called insight. If you want to use insight instead, it
Ooh,
wouldn't be the
actually,
force.
Yes, I would like to add 8 to my 19 roll. So that would be a 27.
Okay, I meant use insight standalone, or do this.
Oh.
Is there a preference? I thought you were wanting to use the force. I'm sorry, I might have misunderstood.
Either works. I would prefer to not take dark side points, but Koronov wouldn't know not to do that, so I'll roll with it. That's a 19 force roll.
Okay. You sense pain and suffering on behalf of actually the one who is creating the field, and you identify that there are a lot of different sort of attributes that she's like channeling together in order to make this shield. So it is entirely spellcasted. There's no technology here in this force field, and it feels like there's a lot of different elements involved in creating this shield. Would you like to know what it looks like? I think I heard someone say sure. It is a shimmering reddish field. There are streaks of brown and orange running through it, and you can see the occasional bolt of, like, miniature bolts of lightning. Some of the orange looks like it's in the shape of tongues of fire. So you've got electricity and fire, and then there's a red, sort of very straight line bolt-shaped essence that's running horizontally and vertically up and down, back and forth, almost like a grid. So it looks like a red net that's that is covered in flames and lightning bolts.
Creepy. I don't like it.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yes.
Angel doesn't
So
say
presumably, if I were to disrupt one of those elements, it would disrupt the shield, right?
But I wouldn't give for Ray of Frost right now.
You could try another insight check, or
Well,
I think it would have to be.
check.
I think it would have to be insight. I'm just not willing to grant that much information on one check.
21?
21?
That is my insight check. Don't wear it out.
Fantastic. Yes,
Nine
you
plus
truly
10.
believe that if you were to knock out one of those elements, it would significantly weaken and or destroy this force field.
Hans, get the Flammenwerfer!
That would increase the
I want
fire.
you to-
As
I want you to
all
change
of this
direction of
happens
the
in
cannon
the span...
to make the fire.
Sorry. All this
What?
happens in the span of about 15 to 20 seconds as you intuit and understand looking at this thing. And then I hand it over to Steiner again to see what he does with the rest of his team, what the rest of the team does here.
Wait, hang on. We have shock-based weaponry that I sold you guys, don't we?
Yeah, I've got
What?
an electro staff.
And I'm gonna give you 4 minutes to come up with your next decision.
Question for
And
the DM.
Time starts now.
Question for the DM.
Yeah.
Can I throw my electro staff? Am I strong enough?
You could, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you have a height advantage now.
Okay, so I could yeet
I
my
would
electro
like
staff
to
at
use
it and do
reaction to
10d4
relay
shock.
the info I've discerned to the rest of the team.
Okay. Steiner, what are your thoughts? You're the leader. You can designate.
Okay, I want the Freya to direct its cannons into the center of this little cluster of warm bodies. And once that shield is down, I want it to fire everything it has into the warm bodies, like the cold bodies.
What I said 2 minutes ago.
Yes, essentially, but I haven't been able to speak, so it's being said now. Angel is the sniper, he gets to take pot shots. Sean here, I don't know what Sean does, so he can do whatever he does. Walt, you're a tank. Tank,
Okay.
I guess? I don't know.
And anything in
Yeah.
particular that Steiner wants to do with that in there?
I guess I'll be a forward observation, and then Walt can protect me, because I want pinpoint accuracy on those cannons.
So you're,
I want to be able to knock a turret out of a fly's butt with these cannons, is what I want.
So I guess I can kind of assume you're being a little bit of a scout.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That was excellent. That was excellent. Okay. So I'll pause the timer here while I go over this. Lonnie wants to throw her lance. Steiner wants to call in Freya's fire on the shield. Angel's going to snipe from the rear. Walt is going to tank damage and I presume shoot his blasters. And then Steiner is going to act as the eyes on the ground. I may want to mention before I resume your time that the squad over here has actually radioed in and said they had to move to higher ground because that molehill got closer. And
Where is this mole?
I am going to draw it for you. Okay. The molehill started over here, and it is rapidly making its way towards...
Can you give it an
Okay.
arrowhead somewhere?
Can we change the color? That's hard to see for me.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I'll fix that. Yeah.
Okay.
I hate to be picky, but I'm also colorblind, so it's like one or the other.
Will red work?
Do black.
Here,
Red on pink? Oh, well,
That's how far it's made it. Let's move in that direction.
okay.
Yeah, it's getting pretty close. You can hear it now.
What does it sound like?
Sounds like a rumbling.
Oh,
how many guns does the Freya have?
a lot.
I know you
That
have
narrows it.
the 2 ion cannons. I think you have 1 beam weapon.
May
Go
I
ahead.
make a comment? Can we, what are the chances of us getting Felipe out of here alive? Because this rumbling thing this molehill sounds like a danger. And if we have the ion cannons fire, I think Felipe's gonna get hurt.
I'm hearing somebody in the background.
Yeah.
Mom, could you be a little more quiet, please? It is closed.
Just give him a moment.
Yes? Well, they can hear you.
Not anymore.
Hi, Mom.
Xbox
Hi,
Live
Mom.
chat moment.
Yep.
Meg says hi.
Just without the profanity.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there aren't really any squeakers here.
So there-
That's good.
Yes.
Sorry.
To answer the question about the status of the mythosaur, it still has the limp. It's still rather torn up and kind of bloody. And it's kind of, now that it's out in the daylight, you can see better that its skin is looking very pale and kind of shriveled up. Like, this guy is probably summoning the last of his strength.
No! We can't kill Felipe!
Well, I don't know that you
Ah,
have
we
much
can
control
roll
over
with it.
Felipe.
Well, let me rephrase that. We can't blast him with
Wait a minute.
cannons.
Ah,
Then get him out of there and redirect fire onto them molehill.
Steiner, may I make a request?
You may make a
Colonel.
request.
Once I get that shield down, I would like to have permission to get Felipe to book it. And then I would like you to fire the cannons.
We can worry about the shield later, because as long as the shield is up, they're going to stay behind it. So we have nothing to worry about at the moment. Now, if you don't move Felipe out of the way, you're not only going to get hit by cannons, but the trimmers over here is coming straight for you. So
Yes.
if you move back, I
I
will
understand.
redirect fire onto that molehill.
okay.
Yes.
While this
Let's roll
happens-
animal handling and get him out of there.
While this happens, Jericho walks up to Steiner and asks to borrow his binoculars for a moment.
Go for it.
And he looks straight into the shield and he identifies one of the shorter witches as Lily. She's standing off to the southern side, so I will mark where south is.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Hey, this is a fake.
Well, okay, so we still need the shield down, but maybe we need to direct fire on that molehill, or whatever it is, because I don't like that.
It's almost like I suggested that or something.
Oh, I didn't know that was
Yeah,
what you
shoot
said.
the
My
molehill.
bad. My
All right.
bad, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. I'm abandoning the timer. It did exactly what I wanted.
Abandoned for doing its job.
Abandon ship. Okay, don't abandon ship.
Abandon the Freya. That's no use. anymore.
Okay.
Oh no.
Okay, so I'm going to resume the encounter a little bit. It's not technically an encounter yet.
Right.
You start seeing more of the short, ghostly black dudes starting to literally appear out of thin air right in front of the shield, and they start running at a dead sprint, all of them, straight at what do you call him? Felipe.
Yeah.
Can I chuck my spear now?
Sure. Where are you chucking it at?
The shield.
Oh, okay.
Nah, 6.
Now 6.
I'll go to the end so you get it back.
Well, it's a huge shield, and you kind
Really
of
hard to miss.
hit it really low to the ground, right at the edge of the shield.
Okay.
So
I need to
it,
roll damage.
You see some. It's an electro staff, right?
Yeah.
So as it hits, you see a lot more of those lightning bolts show up and go, and it kind of like gets extra white, and then stays that way because your lance is still stuck in it.
Fire!
You have
I
invented
don't
it.
have power on me. Somebody shoot that thing.
You don't have any. Hold on, you have guns.
I have a blaster pistol.
We do have a
That's all I-
sniper.
I'm gonna give you 5
A
minutes.
sniper is kinetic based. That's not going to help with fire.
I'm gonna give you 5 real minutes before the molehill gets any
Angel,
closer.
do you have incendiary ammo?
I have a flamethrower.
Does that make sense?
Flamethrower!
Yeah, I know you have a flamethrower, but you're not in range of the shield.
He
I
can't
guess
be,
I
he
could
moves
argue- I
fast.
could argue I have high explosive rounds, HEP.
He does.
Ooh,
Yes.
do it.
On who?
On the shield.
The shield. We're trying to take down the shield.
Alright. Should I just roll d20 for that? Or does it really matter? 'Cause it's like hitting a barn door with a shotgun.
I'll give you a really easy difficulty check.
Alright.
So you would have to roll a 1 basically to miss. Almost.
Alright, here we go. I'm doing the green die over here.
You almost got the 2. Cool. Yeah, you hit it, and the bolts of flame grow brighter for probably about 20 seconds, and then they go dim again, and then disappear. So now
So
the
the
thing
lightning
is,
has disappeared and the fire has disappeared.
the lightning is still going because her staff is still in it.
Also, may I chime in here real quick?
Yeah.
Does my character know, by one way or another, that Lily is in the group of witches?
I don't know that it's been communicated other than to Steiner.
Alright then.
Then I will communicate it to everyone else. Hey, Lily's short.
Yeah, and she's a child.
We'll designate her with a colored base. So we'll make her. I think I said she was on the south side, so we'll go with that. She will be the yellow base. So that's
Wait a
Lily,
second.
and I will rename her.
If we get the shield down, we can just target lock her with beaming stuff.
This is correct.
Oh, smart!
Wait. Why do we have to wait for the shield to be down to do that?
Yeah,
Because the shield will probably block the
Is
beaming.
the shield a sphere or is it a wall?
It's
Or
kind of
like a
it's
dome.
like a half sphere. Yeah.
Okay, so
a
it's
dome.
enough of a dome that we can't beam her out until we get it down.
But you did a good job. You knocked out one of the elements.
Well, if that's the case, then can I just like climb down Felipe and grab my spear?
No, it's Asgard stuff. You don't need that for that. Okay, cool.
Can I just climb down and get my spear out?
I suppose you're going to be running through a bunch of shades. If you want to,
My AC is
if you want to be
15.
running through them, because they're right now basically they're charging the mythosaur and it's batting them away and killing them one at a time.
Oh.
You like if I had you roll a really hard athletics check or dexterity, then I think I could reasonably say you run up, grab your lance and get it back, but then you'd have a hard time getting back on him. So you might be abandoning your perch.
Well, I just need to get it out. Can Felipe swat at it? Pull it out of the shield?
You could try influencing him with the force again.
How do I do that? I forgot.
You rolled a coin. Heads is light side, tails is dark
Can I
side.
flip one in tabletop, actually? I'm
Sure.
more confident in my own coin flipping
Sure.
skills.
I would like to roll to shoot at the shade
That was
things
incorrect.
to try and make Felipe's job
Yeah,
easier.
the dark side.
Ah, dark side.
Do you want to use dark side? It may remember there's evil intentions behind the dark side point. So
I don't care. Let's go.
okay, all right. Roll.
We're dummies who don't know better than to mess with the bats.
Roll a d20 to see how successful you are in
Kids playing
influencing
with
him.
fire.
Yes.
Well, do you have a
2!
I rolled a 1, believe it or not.
What?
She just barely passes. Okay. Felipe is. She manages to influence him enough that he tries to bat for one that's closer to the shield, and just by happenstance manages to kind of like flick the tip of the back of the lance, and it comes out of the ground and just lays down there by the shield. But it's no longer touching, and the white fizzles out on the shield. You now only have the reddish net, and you see an actual like a nosebleed basically coming out of the ricotta in the middle that's been holding up the shield. This is doing physical damage to her when you do this, and she is getting a little bit weak. At the same time, the 2 witches directly beside her lay hands on her and start attempting to heal, and you can see some of the orange and the white start to slowly fade back into the shield.
So we're still on a time limit. We need to rip that net.
12 seconds. I'm going to say that timer on the mole hill, on the gopher hill or whatever it is. You now witness something extraordinary.
If it's another
I bet
dinosaur.
it's like a sandworm or something.
Let me find it here.
Great dragon. I
Oh,
don't know why they'd be on here.
Out of the ground comes a massive, I'm just going to call it a death worm.
It's a giant
I
centipede.
thought you were
I know where that graphic is from. Haha.
Is that from Solaris?
No, that's from Mice and Mystics.
Oh, nice.
What's Mice and Mystics?
I have no idea what that is.
It's like Redwall, but also D&D.
Ooh!
So,
We should play sometime.
that's cool.
It's a great game.
The giant centipede comes launching out of the ground, and it goes airborne, and it hits Felipe in the side with just a formidable smack. And I got to make him a little smaller. He is actually smaller than Felipe.
But he still has a formidable snack.
Smack.
He
Just
is a formidable
bam! He just
snack.
headbutts this thing. And so I'm gonna roll here.
You are
This is-
formidable to me. 'Cause you say
This is a
no.
surprisingly aggressive centipede. I don't normally know them to eat lizards.
Do you happen to have a bunch of centipedes as your friends?
Check. This is
No.
where I'm gonna need a moment for stat reasons. So feel free to talk amongst
We'll be right
yourselves,
back.
but I probably won't be able to answer any questions for a minute or two.
So, is there actually a field between the grid lines
Huh?
of the net?
It doesn't seem to be. Doesn't seem to be.
Huh.
Because I kind of want to just try and get a 14.5 round into what is it? What does the base say? Erixa?
Yeah, that's correct. I just didn't tell you her name, but yeah, Erixa. That's her name.
I
That's
kind of
my
want to get a
roommate's stepdad's
14.5
name.
round into her head and make it not exist anymore, along with like her entire body.
Can you please unalive her, Angel? Make her come in.
So you want to snipe through the shield?
Yeah, it's only a net now.
Oh.
It's slowly coming back as they're healing her, but yes,
yeah,
it's
so
right
like,
now just
you,
a net.
You have a very small chance to do it, Angel. Otherwise, we have to start over.
All right, here goes. Do I have like a? Oh right, don't I have +3 bonus to this?
Yeah, you
I
have
do.
3 bonus on all your weapons.
Okay, hold on. I'm getting a lag spike as I'll tab back into.
Brian has 45 minutes.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we're going at a good pace here, guys.
Yeah, this is much better than last session.
Time for me to make a shot then.
If you like.
All right.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I want to get the Jeff Steitzer quotes up.
Do you have a soundboard?
No, I don't, but I want to, like, use the bot for it.
Oh, dear. Okay,
Alright.
let me narrate real quick what happens with the centipede. It headbutts and takes a big bite out of the mythosaur, and the mythosaur has armor class 25. So let's see how successful it is in the bite. Wow, you serious?
What?
Oh.
I'm scared.
It misses.
Oh my gosh.
I can't believe that. I really thought it was going to hit. All right, now I can do your attack. Sorry, I just had to do hers, or do the...
Oh.
Do the centipede.
I had to do the
You
centipede
need
first.
I hereby name it Carlos.
Someone rename it Carlos, please.
No.
All right, what was the roll for the attack, or has it not happened yet?
I'm about to. I'm just
Okay.
waiting for your permission.
Go for it.
All right. Dang it, it's only 13.
It hits.
Erixa?
Yep, you hit Erixa. I said her
All
name wrong.
right.
What's the damage?
I need to...
Let me-
I can't remember what the damage is
Where's
on
the
that
Where's the D12?
one. There should be one in a bowl, but there's one here too. An American one.
Oh right, crap.
No, wait, that's not a D8.
No,
That's
he needs a
D-
D12.
Oh, that's a D12. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 5 plus 10, 15.
15.
Ooh.
Okay. Let me check her stats. Okay, yeah, that's a...
Is that fatal?
Let's see. I I forgot to write down how much she had taken from the other attacks on the shield. So she was already bloodied, which, if for those of you who don't know, bloodied means half health, by the time he shoots her. And so now she's lower than that. Okay.
Wow.
Oh, that was a 15, right?
Yeah.
15.
Awesome. Very nice. What did you shoot her with, by the way?
E-tank sniper rifle.
SRS 90,
Okay.
9090.
Let me narrate that a little bit more, more appropriately. It tears through her shoulder and rips a load of flesh out. So she's lost use of her left arm.
What does that do to the shield?
Okay.
So literally Zakai from Modern Warfare.
Yeah, and the shield grows a little bit dimmer. It's now a darker red.
And it's still just a net?
Yeah.
Okay, can I tell what the net is made out of? Is it like energy?
It's energy, yeah. It's like a pulsing energy. It's like a... I don't know how to...
Okay.
It's some sort of arcane energy.
How far can Walt move up there?
What's your speed? Let's find
30.
out. 30?
Maybe the base movement speed.
Okay, you should be able
push
to...
it to 50 if I roll.
Okay, so I'm kind of assuming that these spaces are like 10 meters. So you can move like 5 spaces if you're rolling.
Okay.
It's still rather a big map.
Yeah. So that's a bonus action to turn into... that's roll mode.
I love that you shot
so
her.
here's roll.
Thank you for condoning violence.
Yes, I condone this violence.
Yeah, I guess that's all I'm gonna do then.
It's okay.
Oops.
You'll get there.
Sorry, that was my crochet hook.
Are you gonna... Can I ask what you're doing? Are you...
I'm going to try and charge through whatever here is remaining.
Cool, I was hoping you would.
I don't know if that's wise.
I am trusting in my +7 Constitution saving throw and 50 health to get me through whatever it's gonna do to me.
Don't forget there's a bunch of tall, skinny black men in front of the new thing.
Oh, they see me rolling, they hate me.
This status has changed as the witches have stopped summoning familiars or shades rather, and they are now focusing on trying to bolster Eric's remaining health.
Alright, I think it's time to dump around into one of the witches.
Yeah, kill the short
Those are
people.
the healing sources.
All right, go for it. I'm
Wait,
not
are
even
they all
gonna.
human? Are they all human?
No.
Not all of them. I think there were 2 aliens.
I'm gonna have you guys roll initiative, but the witches are gonna be on a slightly different sort of initiative. Oh.
Besides, they're hostile humans. You're a military bot. That should still okay.
Well, I haven't been explicitly given the order to harm
Roll
them,
your
so
initiative, Meg.
yeah.
I'm gonna...
Okay.
Hold on, I'm just gonna call
Go ahead.
over by
It
radio.
didn't roll.
So, please give me a description of Lily so that I don't tear off her entire torso.
Of Lily?
Yeah.
Lily is the yellow one.
She is the one directly on the furthest.
I know who she is, but my character doesn't.
Oh, gotcha. If you see Sean Jericho over here, she looks like him in that she's a brunette, and she has fair skin, and she's human. She's probably
To be fair, if Angel wanted to shoot her, he would have to draw a line of sight right through Felipe. So I'm not sure if he can even see her.
That's true. She's about 4 feet tall. She's still rather young.
Feet?
4 feet, yeah.
Oh, wow.
She's not.
Young girl.
She's not an adult yet. I got
Okay,
Lonnie's initiative roll. Did anyone else roll yet?
I rolled a 1.
You rolled a 1. Okay.
Is that like a critical fail initiative?
Nope, it doesn't do that in initiative.
Oh, it is a 9.
So
I haven't really done anything.
9 for Angel.
Yeah.
Okay, Steiner, what'd you get?
16.
I rolled
16.
1 as well.
Wow, we got 2 1s and 2 16s. All right,
Wow.
duke it out between the two of you. Each of you need to roll again.
13.
Meg got a 13. What'd Steiner get?
Good
I got an 11.
18.
I got an 11.
I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just rolling.
Gornov, what did you get?
I didn't hear.
I got 2. I
Oh,
rolled a 1 + 1.
What was Steiner's second roll again?
18.
18. So that means that Steiner's 16 is superior. So that makes Lonnie a 15. And then Walt has a 2, and Kornov has a 1. Alright, so that means that the first person to go is Steiner.
Okay, I want to know about Carlos.
About what?
Carlos, the worm.
Oh,
dude.
Carlos. I heard car loads.
No.
He wants to load the car with.
Come on.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah.
Raid.
Let me give you the details on Carlos,
I can go into
Death
every
Warrant.
detail. And I will. And I will go into every detail.
Here we go.
And for this session's sponsor, Raid.
Shadow Legends.
No.
No,
All
just Raid. Just regular Raid.
Raid.
Get that out
Bug
of here.
spray.
Kills bugs dead.
Nice.
You see a creature moving erratically with hundreds, potentially thousands of legs. It is, it is clicking, and its movement is erratic. It is close to a quarter-mile long. And if you were to weigh it, you of course wouldn't know this, it would weigh about 500,000 pounds. So that's what, 250 tons. It's actually not all that heavy for a creature like that. It has a scaly exoskeleton, and each of the legs measures close to 100 feet in length. The centipede has a set of razor-sharp mandibles on the front of its mouth and immense jet black eyes. It screeches when attacking and prefers to wrap its body around its prey, attempting to strangle and suffocate while stabbing with its legs. The mandibles are used to pick up food and shove it in its mouth, and the creature can move up to 40 miles per hour on land, 15 miles per hour on water, and it can stand up on its hind legs to reach that full quarter mile up into the air.
That's a crime.
No, thank you. That's not
Okay,
cool.
I have one more question. Are its eyes like glowing or anything, or is there any sort of like magic stuff around it? Because
If there is, it's not apparently visible.
okay,
Okay. How far is it from Felipe?
it's close enough to headbutt him and try and take a bite.
But he's a half mile long. Quarter mile long, rather.
Yep, quarter mile long.
Can you, like, shoot Carlos in the butt and then launch 2 fighter squadrons?
That would be fun.
Are you asking Cole to do this?
Yeah,
Okay.
preferably.
He says, Roger that, we'll send 2 squadrons of F-302s momentarily. Stand by. And you hear the sounds of engines in upper atmosphere. It's going to take a little bit. It's going to take them a turn to get here. And then once we get back to the beginning of next initiative, they will attack.
Well, can the ion cannons fire at the centipede's butt?
Oh!
I haven't got to use the cannons yet.
Yes.
How will those come up?
Yes, they can on this turn. This
I
will be
would
your.
like to point out that
this will be
ion
his
cannons
attack.
are for disabling electronics.
Not
I
necessarily.
don't know this.
Not necessarily. That's not how these ones were working last time we used them.
As big as the bolts are, they better be good for something.
Yeah. Oops.
Yes, they're very good at disabling electronics.
Maybe the centipede's electronic.
You know what? We don't know it isn't.
She's got a point, and he's got a point.
This is true. Although
What does this mean?
Boromir is right. Ion weapons are usually anti-mechanical weapons, so maybe it deals a little less damage. Just a
Okay.
little.
I'm going to accept his request as his attack since he's a commanding officer. And you see 2 ion cannon blasts impact the ground right at the tail end of the centipede, and it shocks the creature quite literally and sends electricity, like green sparks, up its tail a little ways, a couple hundred feet, and the thing starts writhing in agony. And as it turns, you see that the back of its tail is kind of a bit broken off, and so it's gotten just a little bit shorter.
Good.
Great fun.
And so that was Steiner's turn.
Yeah.
Move on to Lonnie's turn.
Okay. Gosh, I have to look at my sheet. Oh right, am I still in control of Felipe?
You have influence over
I
him.
have influence over him.
Either with force or with animal handling, whichever you prefer.
Congratulations,
I would
Meg.
prefer
You've become an influencer.
No, get off of Instagram. I would like to use animal handling because I don't want to get any more negative around.
Here. Today we'll bring some fun stuff to the hall.
Beat a 9.
16.
You do it. All right. So what are you trying to do?
I
We'll
want.
consider this a success. So.
Can you give me some details on the structure of the creature's face?
Let me zoom in on the picture to kind of help. That's what it looks like. So it's got a plate over the top of its face. It's got the mandible sticking out. I would say that this portion right here is fleshy. So
I would like to influence Felipe to bare his claws and scratch at its cheek.
Okay.
You can't see me, but I'm like pretending to scratch across my cheek from my ear to the corner of my mouth.
Okay.
Like just yank.
All right.
Rip
So
out the flesh.
he has some very nice claw attack. That's what you're going for, right?
Yes.
He's got a plus 19 to hit, reach of 15 feet, one target, and a hit will do 4d8 plus 10 slashing damage. So go ahead and roll a d20 for him to hit.
11.
11 plus 19.
That's 30.
I'm going to say they're close enough because they're battling each other. They're in what I would say is engaged range. So you hit him. Now roll 4d8 and then add a 10.
Okay.
I can use some of my dice if you need.
5. Hold on. I just dropped it. 8. 7. Okay. 8 plus 7 is 15, 25. 35 damage.
Do 35 damage to the centipede. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Where am I going here? You rip through one of its scales just on the side of its head because he's like not the most accurate of tortured beings, and you deal how much is it again?
35.
35 damage.
Dang.
Mythosaur, and that's Eric's. Okay, congratulations. It is now Angel's turn.
For a second, I thought you were going to say the worm is now enraged.
Well, let's just say it's not too pleased.
I mean, I wouldn't be either, but
Despite the centipede, do I still have an angle over the centipede on Eric's or which one?
Does that go over any creatures? Does anyone see if that goes over any creatures?
No.
It actually goes perfectly between actually.
Okay, so that's your line of sight and fire.
Yeah, it goes pretty much. He can see Eric's up.
That's fantastic.
nice.
You have an awesome place.
I'm
to be
so glad
shooting
we
from.
have a sniper on the team.
If only I could see the which one, because that's what the healers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, the best way to deal with healers is to take away anything they have to heal.
Good point.
Well, I guess that's what we're gonna do. By the way, fun fact.
Unless
If
it's
you look
the
at the
time
movie-
healers that can revive.
Oh, okay. Those are fun fact. The reflection map on this green D20 has like a church in it. Or something.
What?
That's weird.
Weird.
Wonder
I
why.
zoomed in really close and I just got mesmerized with all the details. But anyway. Time to roll it. 12.
That is another
here,
hit.
Wait, what?
That is a hit.
Oh. I'm not surprised. Alright, roll
What?
damage.
Uh-oh, I hit the person I was trying to hit.
10. 20
20 total.
damage.
Nice.
That's pretty solid.
Congratulations. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
I don't know. Make the cool animation of just
Nice.
I made this for like a film. That's what I do.
That's what I do. All right. That brings us to Walt's turn.
Ah, yay. Okay. So the shades are gone?
Yeah, the shades are completely gone. They stopped. Sending
Okay.
out.
How's the force field looking?
The force field is weaker than it was when you started rolling last time. It just
Okay,
took,
cool.
took quite
So
a
it's still just a net?
Yeah, it kind of lost some strength with that last shot from Angel.
Neat. So I'm going to continue on my roll, and because that's how I roll. I'm just gonna
Impact it?
charge through it,
Okay. Make a
which
strength
I guess
check,
would count
please.
as an attack. Would it? I don't know.
Make a strength check and then follow that up with a Constitution check, or a Constitution saving throw, rather.
Yes. Okay. First, Walt's character sheet.
Waltz, your Constitution saving is a +7, and
Strength is
strength
a
is a +3.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that's 12 for strength,
Nice.
and then 9 for Constitution saving throw.
Is that with your +7?
Okay,
Yes.
you are successful in both. You neither take damage, you do not take any damage, and you crush the remainder of that shield. It drops completely,
Yeah!
and you deal additional damage to Erixa.
How? Oh, because it's a
She's
whole thing.
linked to
Okay.
it. You've dropped the shield.
So is she still alive?
Erixa is, yeah. She's not looking good, but she's alive, and she's angry.
She
But
never looked good. So that's not saying much.
this is enough of a blow that I'm going to say she's knocked prone temporarily for a turn.
Kornov, go!
Yeah, it would be Kornov's turn now.
It is Kornov's turn.
Alright, so... Kornov is going to look at the situation. The shield is
Gone.
the shield disrupted fully?
Yeah, it's completely broken.
Cool. Okay, Kornov would like to... So, what attacks have been made with the Minosaur thus far?
He has
It's a
done...
big creature, presumably against legendary.
He has done just a claw attack for now. There hasn't been a really...
And this is against the...
Centipede. Against Carlos.
Yeah, he was doing some earlier, like, claw attacks to knock out the shades. But yes, that's pretty much all he's done so far.
But
He
those
was
were, like,
aiming
passive
for...
attacks.
Let's put it this
So-
way. He was aiming for Erixa originally, but since the Centipede is here, he's changed his direction of attack. So he's mainly focusing on that Centipede now.
Presumably I got a beam ID thing since I'm working with the team?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I would like to do something arguably not smart. I would like to, direct... Okay, so he can keep engaging with the centipede thing.
Uh-huh.
How... Like, I have grenades in my inventory. They are the plasma grenade variety. How much would they do against this thing?
Against what thing? The
centipede. Because, like, I have two options that I'm considering here. One is I chuck grenades at the thing my kaiju is melee fighting. Two, I slide down, like, the kaiju's leg and try and chuck grenades at the witches and then kidnap the one we're trying to save.
Why don't you just beam Lily out?
Oh yeah, we should do that at this point. But is that an action only Steiner? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that because, as we've said before, I don't have authority over the Freya. That's a Steiner thing.
Yeah, that would have to wait till Steiner's turn.
Okay.
In the meantime, I have grenades. Where should I put them? What should I do?
I can't advise on that.
Both
I'm sorry.
options are not the brightest.
We'll just say it would. I mean, both of those options could potentially damage your enemy. That's all I really could.
I'm aware. That's why I'm contemplating them.
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide which one I want to go with.
Kill the centipede.
Yeah, throw them in the centipede's
All
jaw.
right.
Put the grenades inside of the centipede and deal more damage.
Yeah, because if you kill the centipede, then their biggest weapon is immediately gone.
For a more difficult check, you could attempt to toss it into the mouth of the centipede.
I would like to make this more difficult check.
Okay.
This is going to remind me of the Caco demon from Doom. I chuck a grenade in its mouth and rip out its eye.
Yeah.
What difficulty is this going to be? I'm throwing a grenade. What roll do I do to throw a grenade?
I would just have you roll like your normal attack with the grenade, whatever that is listed as on your sheet.
I don't have an attack with a grenade. I don't believe we wrote that down.
No, we didn't.
You have the stat sheet for the plasma grenades from Halo. So you found that.
Yes, somewhere. Does anyone else have a grenade on them?
Sheets. I have blasting gel if you want to use that, Dave.
Is anyone else in a position to chuck a grenade at a giant monster?
No.
It looks
Is it
like there's
anyone
no.
else's turn?
It looks like it's just a standard D20 to
Alright.
throw.
Yeah,
And then
18.
with your dex modifier.
did you really? Is that a natural or a modified?
That is unmodified 18.
Oh my gosh!
That would be
With
a
his dex
non-natural
modifier.
20.
Well, I think you just eliminated the need for me to look up the stat because you just plopped one right in the back of its head and blows its brains out.
Like as it's roaring.
Yeah, I was thinking
Grenade
18 was
hit it
hard.
in the uvula, and then
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, that guy did.
Goodbye, Carlos. Never liked you anyway.
only counts as one.
Still only counts as one.
Okay.
Is it?
Okay.
Pardon me if this seems in bad taste, but I did have this plan from the beginning, and this is not a result of you killing it. But you notice in the distance, right after the thing finally stops quivering, that there is basically a sea of little black things running your direction.
Oh no, it has kids.
Talk mushrooms.
Oh, guys.
This creature should never have been allowed to breed.
I would just like to do one thing.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, wrong video.
Oh, fuck.
You know what? This deserves the sound effect I made.
Yeah, I had the sound
Okay.
effect ready.
This
But-
is.
That sniper sound is the sound of how it goes. And that reload. Oh, it's this video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
guys,
that was good, but I've got
we
some.
have a sound
I've
effect.
got a sound effect too. So
Yeah, like I was
disconnect him.
trying to play the overkill announcement
Yeah.
from Halo.
This is the sound of. We're just gonna say like you blow its brains out. It's still kind of quivering like any animal would that's having like weird nervous system stuff going on. It's not alive.
frog or a
The
chicken.
mythosaur still thinks it's alive, and so this is the sound you hear. You're welcome.
Okay, so
Oh, my ears!
I made that.
okay, this is the one I wanted to play.
Overkill.
There we go. Oh, man.
I approve.
Jeffrey states it.
Nice work there.
Good job, team.
I think this was some really good teamwork. Okay, so initiative drops. The witches are going to start to try to flee, and Lily is going with them. So initiative drops. You are willing. You are capable of doing whatever you want. There's no initiative anymore.
Okay, so Walt is presumably right next to Lily.
Correct. You're about
So-
10 yards
Grab
away.
and yeet.
He's going to go back to human mode as a bonus action, and do I want to tackle her or just grab her?
Just grab it. You don't want to hurt her.
Grapple.
Yeah, you want to
and yeet.
grapple.
Yep, I'm gonna try and grab her.
Okay. What would that be?
I believe
Strength?
grapple is a strength check.
I think so.
Let me look it up.
I'm gonna roll her strength saving throw here.
20.
10.
Okay, you miss, and she gets one space away from you.
When you want to grab a creeper, special
missed?
melee attack must be
Someone renamed
no
her to
more than
Lily the
one size
Peg.
larger.
Yeah.
Try to seize.
That was obviously Brian.
Okay. A strength athletics check contested by the target's strength athletics or dexterity acrobatics check. If you succeed, you subject the target to the grapple.
Okay, if you want to re-roll an acrobatics, I'll take that.
No, you would
no,
re-roll
No,
acrobatics.
it's It's acrobatics to get out of the grapple. It's
Oh,
athletics
that's what
to
it is.
grapple.
Okay, so I didn't roll properly for her then.
Oh, it's athletics to grapple?
It
It's
is
athletics to escape the grapple.
and athletics or acrobatics to get out of the grapple.
It does.
Okay, so then I get an extra bonus.
Yes.
You also have inspiration, which you can use.
Oh yeah, I can. Okay, so I have +6 athletics. So I'm gonna use. Can I just re-roll that since we counted it
Sure.
wrong the first time, or do I have to use an inspiration?
That'd be fine.
Huh?
You can do it. You can re-roll.
Okay. 16.
She is grappled.
Yay!
Beam her up, Scotty!
Miss Lily,
is that
just
an order
you
from
hold tight,
Steiner?
everything is gonna be just
Yes.
fine.
Is Steiner ordering a beam her up, Scotty?
Yes. Well, hold on. Is it possible to beam everybody up at once?
That's correct, sir.
We'd leave the
Then-
mythosaur high and dry.
Oh, no. Can we beam the mythosaur with us?
Nope,
No,
will
you
not.
cannot, because one, it's too big and would burn out the
Stuff on
teleporter, and two, where would you put it?
In my
Cargo
bedroom.
bay?
I'll take good care of it and feed it every day.
It's too big for the cargo bay.
It's way too big to fit on the ship. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, before we leave, I give it a hug and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Is everyone good with me moving you up there?
I'm sorry?
I don't care.
I'm good with leaving.
I
Is
might need
everyone
you
good
to
with what?
detach the mythosaur for me.
What?
I don't know how to detach the mythosaur from the characters. Congrats. Okay. So as you are beamed up onto the ship, you are immediately put on the bridge,
Hang
and
on.
you see the devastation
I'll
that is
try
about to be wreaked. The the witches have escaped. However, they're too
There
small
we
for
go.
you to see. But you see a wave, and I'm talking like several miles of little black things completely swarming the area. And the mythosaur is pretty quickly swamped by this wave of creatures. You don't know what they are unless until Cole zooms in, and you see that they look kind of
What?
like
Well, what is happening with the map right now?
I don't know, somebody's moving it. You see the little creatures swarming the mythosaur. They're climbing up him. He's fighting as hard as possible. He's just scattering them all over the place. You see waves of them flying off in different directions as he bats at them. He's actually putting up a pretty good fight for being, outnumbered like millions to one. They are little tiny alien-like scorpions. Actually, they're not centipedes.
Oh, they're not Carlos's
This
children?
this was you could probably assume like the secondary reinforcements that the witches were going to call in. And then I'm going to have Cole and no, I'm going to do this with Kornov notices a gold colored ship come up out of the top of the temple, extend what looks like a sail, and start flying up into outer atmosphere.
This would be a solar sailor, correct?
You're correct.
The kind of shit.
Hey, where's Lily?
You have Lily, but I don't know.
Yeah, we beamed her up.
Where is she?
Koronov is
Oh,
going...
what's her-
Oh, she's on the ship.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
You are now in space. Upper atmosphere of Olinus.
Kornov, what are you gonna do with that information?
Because you're the only one who sees it. And you
Koronov
haven't
is
told
going to
anyone.
call out, ship departing from the hostile temple. I'm going to try to go after it.
We left the shuttle down there, correct?
you did actually.
Yes.
Oh no you
Can I
didn't. No, you
ask
didn't.
somebody to beam me back down my shuttle?
No.
Actually,
Wait.
hold on. I misspoke. You actually brought it up a few sessions ago, and then you got beamed back down. So actually, it's on the fray right now.
All right,
Yeah.
so
I
I'm going
momentarily
to
forgot.
jump in my jump in my ship and go after the solar sailor.
Okay.
Okay.
That will have to be probably a separate one shot.
Yeah.
Are you going to reconvene with these guys at some point if you want to do that? Because
I gave them my contact info and everything, and I'm a free agent, so
Okay.
I'm not going to be on every mission anyway.
So are you cool with then you wouldn't really have any more influence for the rest of the session then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I will follow up with you on that. We could maybe do some weeknight or future weekend. Just do a quick little one shot, you and I.
Sounds good.
Alright, so when we last left off, the witches were escaping from the planet, you all had things seemingly well in hand, and I went to go make sure they didn't get away and start this whole stunt all over again.
This is correct. So, you have been beamed aboard the Freya, and
then jumped into my ship and took off after the
oh, it's going to give a little more detail. You were beamed into the Freya, and you witness a ship take off from what appears to be like a hatch out of the top of that larger main temple down on Olympus, and a ship exits. It seems kind of small, and it reaches the upper atmosphere, and it starts to open up this big golden sail in front of it.
Solar sailor.
It has not quite reached very high speed yet. It's still moving kind of slowly. And I believe that's at the point you decided you were going to do.
Yeah. Fortunately, the solar sailor type of ship tends to be more of a pleasure yacht kind of thing. So unless it's like a custom model, it's probably not going to be specifically trying to go fast with how it's designed. However, that is extended Star Wars lore knowledge, and knowing gameplay mechanics, that will probably not be reflected. Anyway, let's do this thing.
All right. The thing is starting to accelerate. I want you to roll 1 green and 1 purple and see if you're able to catch up to it. That's what you're indeed aiming for.
Yes, I would like to preferably head it off and disable it before it jumps to FTL.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll. So
where the heck is where's the dice roll channel at?
You can do it in dice roll, or you can do it in D&D voice call chat.
All right.
So minus the little
okay
marker in front. That's how you would do it.
1 green, 1 purple.
Yep. Okay. So all dice have canceled out. So you feel like you're not making any progress. Like you're keeping pace with it right now. I'm gonna have you roll a perception check too. Do 1 green or do hang on, sorry, not 1 green. This is gonna be back to normal dice. So roll whatever your perception would be.
That is one of my higher stats.
Ah. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, shoot. Okay, so this is where this guy is getting in the way. Why don't you try Mocha's? I think it's like this.
Nat 20.
Wow. Would you believe I also rolled a 20? What a start.
Well, it says you rolled an 8, so...
Oh, that was just an example. I count a tie as a win for you, for whoever's making the check. So, you see that not too far, only probably about 200 miles outside of...
So who has the bigger bonus? Because if they're both nat 20...
It don't matter none.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to count it as a critical, too, because it's a 20. You see about 200 miles out there is a thick asteroid belt, and she is making a beeline for the asteroid belt. And as she gets closer and closer, she has to drop her sail and suck it in. So she was accelerating towards the asteroid belt. As she gets close, sail retracts and comes back in, and immediately you start gaining on her. Immediately. And at a rapid pace, too.
Fortunately, I don't have such concerns. Or weaknesses. I don't have such weaknesses. Star Wars memes. Much wow. Anyway, this would be an excellent time for seismic charges.
That it would. Would you like to roll another perception check?
If it's not covered by my passive, sure.
What would I be rolling this for?
It'd be the same thing as last time. I will re-roll my DC for it. Okay, that's much more reasonable.
16.
Try. Oh, that is working. Cool.
Yeah, like the
R1's getting it, but
the
D1C3
new one doesn't
isn't.
work.
Yeah. Okay, well that I can work with. 16, you easily pass. Your sensors start beeping, and you notice 3 contacts behind you. They're somewhat distant. You don't know what they are, but they are heading your direction, and they're slightly catching up to you.
Okay, that's kind of weird. Presumably they're not. Okay, either they're really stupid fast and they're other witches, or there's something funky going on.
Either there's something or there's something.
I mean, I guess it could be 302s depending on how fast they are relative to my ship, but my ship's fairly advanced with regards to FTL speed and like sublight speed compared to 302s. Because like I'm pretty sure it's faster than either.
Well, at this point, you'd be like close enough to the asteroid belt. Like I'm skipping some of this narration here. You're close enough to the asteroid belt. You probably are like, bobbing and weaving a little
how
bit.
How far am I away from like weapons range with regards to this enemy?
The one behind you or in front of you?
Well, the one I'm going after. I can probably turn around and engage them once the
okay.
one I'm trying to deal with has been dealt with. Because like I'm trying to keep the one in front of me from getting away, and
sure.
like the ones behind me, yeah, that's a freaking problem. But it's not my problem until I can disable them. Besides, I've got a friendly ship in the area.
Okay.
I'm actually going to calm the Freya. Freya, this is going up. I have 3 bogies on my tail.
It takes a second for a response, and then you hear from Colonel Cole, Roger that. Do you need assistance?
That would be preferred. Could you at least tell me what I'm dealing with and engage it if it tries to shoot me?
Okay. Cole radios back. We don't seem to be detecting anything in our vicinity, though there are 3 bogies very close to your tail, and they are about to catch you. Over.
I am going to... So, like, presumably they're on my sensors as well. Like, what's their positioning relative to me?
There is a formation
like, are they
of 3.
Flying okay, so they're flying in formation.
They're flying in a dart formation.
Yeah. Hang on, let me check what that is.
Up a picture so I can give you a better description of it visually once it gets closer.
Yeah, okay. I get the picture.
Okay. Very shortly they pull in behind you, and you see that they are decently wide. They've got one central cockpit that's kind of on the back trailing edge of the wing, and they have these upward stabilizing fins on the sides that separate, and the top portion moves up, the bottom portion moves down.
Since they're in visual range, do you have a picture for me?
I'm describing what you're... okay, fine. I wanted to describe it.
You can still describe it. I would just like to look over the picture so that I can like visualize it as you describe it.
Alright, you see 3 very battered, old, rusty versions of these. One of them has a very light trail of smoke behind it, and another one has one of the side stabilizers is only about halfway there. They pull in behind you.
Freya, those are Trade Federation ships.
You don't hear a response as you travel into the asteroid belt. You seem to have lost comms.
Wait, I'm in the asteroid belt already. Okay.
Yep.
Do I still have a visual on the ship in front of me that I'm catching up? And how far away is it?
Yes, it's I rolled a die for a length of time it would take to catch up. It would be just under a minute at your current current speed.
Are we talking catching up to weapons range or catching up to pulling alongside the ship?
Literally,
those are two very different things.
Literally pulling up next to it. You're within weapons range.
I would like to disable their engines.
All right. This is where the checks come in. This is where the fun begins. Now,
what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try and fire some shots at their engines and then immediately hit the reverse thrusters so the freaking hyena fighters go past me.
Okay, so I'm going to have you do 1d20 roll. Let's see. We'll do Constitution for to make sure that you're able to handle the G's. 13. Okay, let me see if I get.
And Constitution.
Okay, I'll tell you what you get.
Constitution roll is 7.
Okay, what was that first one?
You told me to roll a 1d20 and then roll a Constitution.
Oh, I meant that for your Constitution. We'll take the top roll.
Well, I have a +1 for Constitution.
Okay, so you get a 14.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would like you to roll 1 green and 3 purple because she is bobbing and weaving, and you're trying to shoot at rather a small target.
One green and 3 purple?
Yep.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
I have force to increase my chances of a hit.
Sure, go ahead and add a blue to that. Okay, you get 3 failure and 1 disadvantage. So,
I don't like that.
Unfortunately, you miss. There isn't much serious that happens with you missing. Your blaster shots impact a asteroid and it breaks apart. There's a dust cloud in front of you. It's meaningless. It doesn't hurt you at all. What else happens is you see a shot go across your starboard bow, or your starboard side, and it impacts the side and kind of shakes you a little bit. Doesn't seem to be any serious damage. Yeah, this is a shot on your ship from behind you.
Oh, it's on, boys. It is on. I do not take kindly to frickin' Trade Federation shooting on me.
And go ahead and roll 1 white. We'll see what you get. I'll tell you how that works. Okay, so that's a dark side point. Now I'm going to roll 1 as well.
So I'm going to assume the dark side point comes from the anger of, they are shooting at me?
That's not good news for you. I'm gonna immediately change one of those blacks to a white, just because you've not done this before, and I want it to be fair. So basically, at any moment, if you feel like you should have had something and you just forgot to mention it, you just tell me, and I'll flip the 1 white into a black. But unfortunately, convexly, I have the opportunity to flip a black into a white and do something bad to you. So whenever there's white points, you can use them. Whenever there's black points, I can use them. So I'm going to just assume there's 1 black, 1 white for the purposes of this. It's kind of like inspiration. So this will be for the ship stuff. All right. So if you'd like, you can flip you can flip your white to redo the roll if you wish. I don't know that should in this case, but I'm just bringing it up.
I don't understand this system at all.
It's okay, you don't need to.
What would you recommend?
I would recommend wait until something more serious happens, probably. It's
all right.
Basically this system's version of inspiration, so...
Anyway, so after taking my shot, I hit the brakes as the shot hits my ship. So what happens as I hit the brakes suddenly?
Okay, you hit the brakes. Are you gonna try to turn at all, or are you just gonna like?
No, I'm hitting the brakes so they fly past me and come within my weapons.
Okay, you hit the brakes. All of a sudden, you are at a standstill, and the 3 vulture droids that you pass you, and you see
I light
their
them up.
heads. Hold on. I'm not done yet. You see their heads lift up and tilt back to look at you, and one of them, as it does so, doesn't pay a whole lot of attention. So I'm gonna roll and see what happens here.
Oh, they're gonna fly into an asteroid, aren't they?
Okay. One of the vulture droids bumps into another one, shifts it off course, and it grazes an asteroid, knocking off its entire left stabilizer.
Ooh.
Which you know also carries its weapons. So one of them is now slightly handicapped. Another one is already handicapped because it only had one stabilizer to begin with. There you go.
Stupid clankers. I fire.
Okay. I would like you... which one are you firing on? Firing on one of the disabled ones?
Can I try and get a missile lock on one of them?
Yes, and if you choose the one if you choose the one that hit the asteroid, it's at a lower velocity, and so I would give you an extra blue die.
I don't want to waste a missile on the one that's already damaged.
Okay. So it would be...
At this range, I'm just going to use cannons.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what it would be if you did want to use the missile on the fully functional one. It would be 1 green, 2 purple. However, you know what? You're sitting still. You're sitting still, so that improves it. I will upgrade. I'll give you a blue on that one, actually. So it'd be 1 green, 1 blue, 2 purple.
Okay, missiles or lasers?
That would be for missiles. For lasers, it would be just 1 green, 1 purple for any target.
So it was green, 2 purple, blue?
1 green, 2 purple, 1 blue. Yep. Ooh. Okay. Oh, that's really unfortunate for you. Do you want to flip the white point? You don't have to.
I don't know what any of this is! I don't know! Tell me what to do, please.
If you flip the white point, that basically means that you can re-roll, but then I have it like twice the opportunity to do something back to you. So... You'd be giving me your inspiration, and then once I use an inspiration, you get an inspiration back.
Alright, let's do it.
Alright, go ahead and re-roll. And turn it into green, green, purple, purple. Wow. I feel like you're being cheated.
I don't think this bot likes me.
I think you're being cheated. Okay, and you're firing with the missile. The missile...
Can we go back to the dice that I actually know how to use?
I don't have any of the ships set up for that. I intentionally chose this system.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's not at all a headache.
Your missile flies past them and loses target and hits an asteroid. An asteroid.
Happen with the rubble from said asteroid?
We'll say it's like it was an unstable enough asteroid that it breaks apart into 2 chunks, give or take, a bunch of rubble. And the 2 handicapped vulture droids kind of struggle to get through that cloud. They are practically at a standstill as they are getting battered by stone.
Since I still have a jump on these guys, presumably, I'd like to shoot my laser cannon.
Okay. Which ones again?
The vulture droid.
The handicapped or the functional?
Let's go with functional ones.
Okay.
Just for the heck of it.
Lasers, so that'd be 1 green, 1 purple. And after this roll, okay, good. You are successful on this roll. You impact that one, and its engine, which was slightly smoking, is now a blaze of fire. However, it has now traveled far enough away that you probably need to start your engines, or else it's going to escape. It starts to circle around, and you also notice that the solar sailor is getting much farther away.
So I would like to make a clarification. I did not, like, come to a complete halt. Like, I fired my engines, like, reverse enough for them to fly past me and then continued at the same speed.
Okay, fair enough. Solar Sailor is then about the same distance away from you. I would assume that you are again gaining on it then. It is still bobbing and weaving, however.
Am I able to get a weapon lock on it?
We'll have you do a... Let's see. Roll 2 green and 2 purple. Let's see how you do. Yes, but only for a little bit.
I fire as soon as I have the lock.
Okay. Since it's locked, there's no need to roll for attack because it's locked and it will roll that for you. You hit, but you don't hit the ship. You hit the asteroid next to it, and you blast a bunch of rock into the side of it, and it starts smoking too.
Excellent.
And one other minor detail, you notice, the shape of the ship is kind of like an almond, but with like this weird, like the top and bottom shell almost seem like, actually it's more like a pistachio that's been slightly opened.
It's Geonosian solar sail.
Yeah, so it's like the top of it is now cracked, and like the point has broken off of it, and there's a trail of
smoke. So,
smoke.
like, knowing that model of ship is what we're talking about, it's probably a one-man ship, more or less. Ergo, not really any hostages I have.
Perhaps. Roll history.
I still like to disable to get something.
If you want to know a real, tangible answer to that, you can roll history.
No, this is out of game knowledge that I'm applying.
Oh, you're not applying that to Koronov, you're just talking out of game?
Like, out of game, that's probably what's going on. In game, Koronov's just had shots fired at him. Like, he's still trying to disable the ship because that's a piloted ship and he's armed. But deal with the immediate threat first, please.
Sure. Okay, very good.
But I would also imagine that Koronov, being a customer of such fine ships as the Hawk 290 class, would know a pleasure cruiser when he sees one.
Yeah. Okay, so as that happens, the one now on fire, Vulture Droid, swings around clockwise to the right.
Okay.
And makes a circle around an asteroid and is
How
lost
about
to
the one
sight.
that isn't damaged yet?
No, they're all damaged now.
Okay, how about the one that's damaged the least?
Those two are extracting themselves from a pile of rubble, probably a good, at this point, like a good 200 seconds behind you.
They slowed down? They were going faster than me before. Weird.
They impacted the meteor, and then
They impacted it.
And then they,
okay.
Yeah, and then they also got caught in the rubble from an explosion. So
I'm kind of surprised they're still ticking. Those things are frail.
well, they're not in good shape at all. And yeah.
I'm going to floor it.
Floor it? Okay. I assume you're trying to come up alongside the Solar Sailor. Is that correct?
Not quite.
Just want to get closer.
I'm trying to get close to it, but not come up alongside it. I'm trying to make it so that they risk hitting it instead of me.
Gotcha. Okay. Because it's now a trail of smoke.
Yes, I would like to use the bad guy as a shield of sorts, because bad guys killing bad guys is not something I'm going to be overly burned up about.
Because it's now leaving a smoke trail, and you are very close, I'm going to... It cannot hide from you. Unless it pulls some ridiculous maneuver, which it's not capable of due to its current condition. It is easy to follow, and in fact, it seems to be less maneuverable now, maybe a bit slower. You catch up to it rather quickly. How close do you want to get?
I'd like to pull up above and to the left of it, slightly ahead. Basically, I'm trying to put it between the hostiles and myself, and also in a position where it will not have an easy time trying to ram me.
Okay. Yeah. You managed to kind of create like the chess pin maneuver, right? Is that what you're looking for here?
Chess pin maneuver.
Well, I'll go with a different description. You have the solar sailor between you and the one that peeled off to the right, which now has come full circle and is trying its best to accelerate, but it is very unstable. And it fires. Let me roll its attack. So and it misses horribly. It misses you, and it hits the solar sailor in the back, and now there's a fireball more than just smoke, and the solar sailor loses all acceleration. And
excellent. Its engines are dead. Cool.
It starts
okay.
tumbling
I
out
do
of
an
control.
about face and shoot this freaking thing.
Cool. Can I have you just roll a d20 for another Constitution saving throw? Let's see how you do.
That would be a non-natural 20.
Nice. You easily turn this thing around, and you put 2 shots down range, right? You're firing like 2 shots or something like that?
Yeah, like both blaster cannons, light them up.
Okay.
Just like...
Fire a couple shots. And then you see them impact. That one's gone. That one's completely gone. There is not even a point in having you roll a check. It is so out of the fight.
All right.
The other 2 have gotten their bearings and they are coming up on you, but they're a little bit slower. So
they're slow, and my guns are facing them now.
This is correct. Before you can fire, though, one of them fires a missile at you. Let's see what it rolls. Okay, I gotta think about this for a second, because that's neither.
Why do you roll?
So that's what I'm getting at. It did not roll success, so it did not succeed. It did not roll failure, so it did not fail. It did, however, roll 3 disadvantage. So something's going to happen.
May I make a suggestion?
And it's going to be disadvantageous to the Vulture Droid.
May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
I continued the fire button, and one of the shots impacted the missile.
I was actually thinking of that. Oh, you and I were on the same wavelength. It fires, and unfortunately for the Vulture Droid, the missile impacts one of your shots. And instead of firing a bunch of exploding a bunch of buzz droids on you, a wave of buzz droids come out and land on the Vulture Droids. And being the little imps they are, they don't discriminate. They start peeling apart both Vulture Droids, and before you know it, they're piles of scrap.
On the one hand, nice. On the other hand, I thought Tri-Fighters were the ones with the buzz droids. Anyway,
you know, I could be wrong on that, but I'm just going to roll with it and pretend like I meant it that way. You have a very good point. I forgot about that, but I'm just going to pretend that doesn't matter.
Regardless, I'm cool with this.
Leaving you, essentially still. I mean, you still have some backward movement, I think. Next to a tumbling out of control solar sailor, missing a sail, missing part of its almond shell, and fire. Would you like to perceive what you can perceive?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Preferably before it hits an asteroid. If I have to do some no time for caution BS and dock with their it's a certain damage. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Do.
Kitty Walt's not with me, so I can't make the scene full way.
Oh, I love that scene so much.
I have an astromech droid. We can make
That's true.
And TD hasn't said anything in a while.
Just checking to see if there's anything special about your HWA. Doesn't seem that might help.
I've heard shots. Is everything alright? Don't worry about it, TD. Red's doing it.
Okay.
See what we hear with our list.
Did you roll your d20 for perception?
Not yet.
Okay. Once you do that, I'll tell you what you can see.
Non-natural 21.
Woo! Okay.
Coronav's stats are busted, man.
A mixture of just you having a quick eye and some sensors in front of you. You're able to tell that there is a dead witch at the helm in the cockpit, and your sensors tell you. I'm just gonna pretend that you have life science detectors. I don't care if they don't exist.
That's
right
actually
now.
fairly standard for Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see
At the very least on military ships.
You are able to
I have
identify
no
2 other creatures in the back that are also laying on the floor and not moving. They all have the distinct shape of the ricotta head.
So it's the head honcho and her 2 cronies.
That's correct. And if you remember back
Glad
to the
Glad
book,
I hit them then.
yeah, you remember back to
Do I
the
wanna
book.
Okay, is the ship at risk of exploding? Because like it is on fire and stuff.
No, like the fire is actually starting to put itself out. It's running out of fuel. Fuel to burn. One quick note.
Yes?
Think back to the book you read back in that chamber in the cave. If you remember, there were only 3 ricotta known to still be alive, and they are no more.
Well, are they dead? Is there like a hull breach or something?
Well, you know the first one's dead because you can see blood splattered everywhere. And the other 2, you know, through the life science detectors, are either dead, unconscious, or fading. It's a little bit difficult to tell. Considering the circumstances, there's kind of a lot going on in there. I'm surprised the sensors are able to really make sense of it.
Can I use precog to tell what'll happen if I save them? Or if I try to save them?
Sure. Roll one of those white dice for me. Okay, if you did that, you'd be using a dark side, so you'd take -2 to morality. Would you like to do that?
No.
Okay. So you unfortunately don't know. You could make an intuition check, and I can give you your best guess.
Ooh. I would like that very much, because I
believe it's
That
intuition.
would be insight, right?
Insight, yeah. I'm sorry. 2 systems I play regularly, they have differing... Let's see what the dice say.
I'm glad that's my highest stat.
Okay, the dice
I have
say...
+8. I have +8 with insight. This is nice.
The dice say that you see a dark future if they were to continue existing. They would most likely, according to your insight, find another planet to live on and exploit any living beings they see there.
Yeah, that's
torturing
more
them.
or less why I went after him in the first place. I was kind of wondering if we could try and deal with any interrogation or intel or anything like that, but yeah.
Your astromech droid starts beeping excitedly and turns to you and
What
has
is
something
it
to
they
say. He pulls up the star chart, whatever they call it, and he shows you the bearing of their of where they were heading. And if they were to continue, they'd
Their
make
trajectory.
the trajectory. It would make a direct intersection with the planet Dathomir.
Good thing we stopped them then. We'd have to fight a whole world of witches. I do not wish that on anyone.
Silence falls as your ship sits relatively still, and you see the wreckage of the vulture droids slowly pass you, and the lights inside of the solar sailor begin to fizzle and go out.
M8, try to reestablish communications with the Freya. I will head back.
Very good.
Bye.
Okay. Now, Colonel Cole kind of just wants the scoop on what just happened. And what the Colonel Steiner's plans are going forward, because like he thinks it's time to head back to Earth. You know, we need to reconvene at the SGC. It's been way too long.
What about the Jerichos?
Yes.
They haven't been reunited.
That's
yet.
another good point Megan brings up. Is Lily does not know her dad is there, and she also
Doesn't know us.
doesn't know you, and she was acting as a witch. So there's some potential brainwashing, maybe. So,
Can I go to Lily? Can I go talk
yes,
to her?
we'll say she's restrained by a couple airmen, but yes.
Okay.
You all can deal with this. I need to go.
You gotta go?
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks, Brian.
Bye, Brian.
Yep.
See ya.
He's got to go take his siblings trick-or-treating. His mom wanted him to go do that today. So I was able to negotiate that he'd be able to come, and it seems like we managed to barely make it work.
Yeah.
So,
Can I talk to Lily?
yes.
Okay.
Does anyone else want to join?
I think we'll just stand there. But yeah.
Okay, we'll say you're on the bridge.
Yeah. Okay. I go up to her and like, is she fighting them? Is she thrashing or anything?
Let me pull up my notes on her because I can't remember offhand.
Gotta remember her personality.
Okay. So before you even get anything out, she screeches at you at like the top of her lungs. She's screaming, "I am a servant of the formidable Erixa. You shall die for your crimes against the Whisperers." And then she tries to cast crimes. She tries to cast a spell, but the airmen restrain her, and it's kind of a somatic spell, so she needs access with her hands in order to do it.
So it doesn't work?
So it doesn't work.
Okay, I go up to her, and I, like, squat down to her level, and I'm like, listen here, Lily Jericho. I'm here because I'm helping your dad, and we're taking you back to him. He's here, so you better shut up and listen. You are coming back to your dad, and you're going home, Missy. You're going to timeout.
And she says, "Ha! You think you understand who you're dealing with? You're gravely mistaken. Now suffer the consequences of your actions." She tries again and fails.
I laugh in her face. I'm like, you really have no idea what you're doing, do you? You can't even cast that spell. You're just a kid. You're not a witch. You're a child. And your father is here to take you home.
She says, "Erixa is the goddess I serve. She is great in power and wisdom. There's no one else more worthy to serve than her. Bow before her and witness a great and powerful magic that even her servants quake and tremble to see used against her enemies. Fall on your knees, quiver at the sound of her whispers, and today you will see the full might and terror of the Whisperers."
And I laugh at her again and I say, if there was a real goddess, it wouldn't be one that we just shot in the head.
"Do you think you understand what I know? You're mistaken. She has enlightened me with her grace and might."
She's dead.
She refuses to engage at this point and is fuming.
Okay, I wave down Jericho, or Sean, and I'm like, Sean, get over here and deal with your kid.
Okay, he's gonna roll a check. Where did I put his character sheet? I made a character sheet for him. Bear with me for a moment.
Do. Crochets anxiously.
Oh shoot. Open. Oh. Why'd I have to choose a name that has like 3 different spellings? I know I made one. Maybe it's in here. Don't look at this here. There's some spoilers in here.
Okay, not looking.
Sorry, I gotta find it. Actually, let's just go with a basic check for now. He's going to roll a persuasion, a very hard persuasion. So, failure. So he comes before and he says, "Lily, it's me, your dad, Sean." And she looks at him and screeches and yells, and he tries again, and he fails even worse. He's like, honey, it's me, your dad. And she still not listening. She tries again. Lily. I don't know what else he would say. Come to me.
Like,
What have they
snap
done
out of
to
it.
you? Snap out of it. Tries again. This time he gets a little bit of success. And she shouts at him this time instead of staying quiet and angry. She says, leave me alone, you liars, you deceivers. You're trying to take me from Erixa, and it will be the greatest mistake you've ever made.
She took you from your dad, child. Don't you get it?
Now I'd like you to roll persuasion.
Okay. 2.
2? Okay. So that didn't work. But Jericho's going to try again. He also gets a 2. So you kind of...
Walt would like to come and give her a big metal hug.
Aww.
Aw. Let's see, what kind of a check could I pull that up?
Here's Walt's sheet.
Let's see.
You're looking at Corn.
I know, I'm just looking at the skills.
That would probably be.
I feel like that'd be
persuasion or
charisma.
culture. Oh,
Do you want to try a charisma check?
Sure. That is... I get -1 if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Okay, it's not a success, but you were not as... Actually, I forgot. I'm supposed to decrease the DC because you're breaking through. It is a success. Jericho says one more thing to her. It's like, I love you. I've always loved you. I lost you, and now we're found. Snap out of it, Lily. I want you back. I'm here to bring you home. And visible change on her face. All of a sudden, you see positive emotion instead of rage and anger. And she yells, I yield. Forgive me, Father.
I thought you were gonna say she like screams "Daddy" and runs into his arms.
Well, I mean, she's trying to break free of the airmen. They're still holding on to her.
They brainwashed her so hard that she started talking like a whole different person.
Well, she was a different person.
Pretty much.
Touché.
What would happen if you got brainwashed with magic?
Touché. I'd probably still talk like myself.
Maybe.
But I've never met the kid.
Magic doesn't exist, so we don't know.
Thank God.
Praise the Lord that magic doesn't exist, and if it does exist, it's heresy.
If it does, pass the ammunition.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay, so Cole is gonna suggest that they basically get a room, and they figure their stuff out. So the two of them are going to retreat to a room. They're going to be escorted by some airmen, and you can assume that security measures will be taken, and they're going to work on getting her back into good shape. Jericho says, thank you so much. I will, once I have this handled, I will come back and we will work out my debt to you. So
I give him a thumbs up.
He says the deal still stands. You can call on him anytime you need assistance, whenever, wherever he will be there. So he does have to find his ship, the Ghostly Maw, but
That's not our business.
long-term goals.
I'm gonna posit that he doesn't need to pay me back. Not that he necessarily would, but
I'm gonna give you a 1 morality point.
hey, where do I even put that on my character sheet?
Just write it somewhere on your character sheet. Just put yourself at 51. And then I know the other guys aren't here, but you all are gonna get a certain amount of XP, and I gotta find it on my sheet here. Got XP for the battle. I didn't even use most of my narration that I wrote down. I came up with a lot of it on the spot.
I was also gonna add the full thing that I was intending to say
Oh, yes.
was you don't need to pay me. Just be glad that you have a daughter to come back to.
What a guy.
With
Hinting at a tragic backstory, anyone?
I mean, it's the Covenant War.
The Human Covenant War. Have you
Okay.
ever heard of glassing?
I apparently forgot to write down how much XP, so you all get 1,000 for finally getting Lily Jericho.
Alright.
It was a very long process, very arduous. So I will go through for Steiner and Kornov. I will put an additional 1,000 on their sheet for them. And I can't remember. I'll have to look at the thresholds. I'm not sure that you've leveled up again. I think you have to get to 4,000 to do another level up, but you got some great progress. So that's the big encounter. Now, would you like to roleplay getting back to the SGC, or should I just pick up there again on the next session?
I think we should.
I do want to have some conversations with Mr. Angel about where exactly he came from and.
Awesome. We should
What
do
he
that on
means
the flight
by-
back.
Can I go to the bathroom while they have that conversation?
Yes, you may.
Because I will not be privy to it.
Yeah, Colonel Steiner, I'm just going to say he gives Colonel Cole the permission to start heading back. He seconds that. So.
It's been so long, I've got to pull up my actual backstory thing. You guys don't know I have.
Sean is literally smaller than his daughter.
Let's fix this. There we go. That's more appropriate. That's hilarious.
And hang on, how are these SGC dudes bigger than Walt?
Hey, sometimes people are dwarfed by their own kids. It happens.
That's true. I don't know if I ever
actually
mentioned Sean's height.
I'm actually either the tallest or second tallest in my family.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah. All right. So as everyone goes like their separate ways or whatever, I'm gonna kind of pull Angel aside and I'm gonna ask, so what's your story, Mr. Angel?
Does it really matter?
It does to me. I'm programmed to care for all humans.
Program. Okay. It doesn't matter anymore. But I guess that means I can talk about it, huh? Well, I doubt you would know of a planet called Reach.
Nope.
But that's where I'm from. Joined with crap. I never figured out what. Oh no, I did figure out. I joined with the 212 battalion. Really, well, there's not much to me other than all the. Angel's clearly struggling to bring it back. And I should also clarify a little point. That thing that I said to Jericho earlier.
Uh-huh.
You could probably catch a hint of sadness in his voice for,
Yeah.
remembering something.
Oh.
Nothing in particular. Not like a very specific memory, but like that there's an overwhelming kind of cloud in his head. Like
Tell me more about Reach.
Well, it was crown jewel of our civilization. I don't know about that any. I thought it was the crown jewel of our civilization, of humanity, and then somehow I end up here, and there's a lot of more humans that don't seem to care about the Covenant.
Well, I've never heard of the Covenant, but then again, I'm pretty sure I'm from an alternate timeline or something, and I've honestly never heard of Reach. I don't think the SGC has either.
Well, we wouldn't have any reason to anyway. It seems like with given all that's happened. And I don't know about all this alternate timeline stuff. You'd have to go ask Shar or Fujikawa for that. Except they're dead now.
So you're fighting a war. So your planet of Reach and your civilization of humanity, you're fighting a war against this Covenant.
Yep. Or like just getting executed.
That's awful. Well, where is Reach? Yeah, I've been meaning to ask this. Where is Reach? Is it in the Star Wars galaxy, in like the undiscovered territories, or is it in the Milky Way?
It's somewhere. We haven't really determined.
Okay.
It's somewhere very far.
Okay, tell me about the ship you were on when we found you.
Crap, I wasn't prepared for this.
This is my favorite stuff.
You mean old Vanguard of Liberty?
That's a beautiful name.
Yeah, trivia. Remember when I showed you guys that mod for Arma 3?
Yeah.
You could actually, in the editor, make a UNSC frigate called Vanguard of Liberty, I believe. And I think you could change its appearance to be an insurrectionist one, and it's called something else.
Oh.
Yeah. Shame it had to die. But
What happened to it? I mean, I know. Did you get caught in battle? Was it a accident of faster than lap travel?
Or maybe. You have to ask one of the navigation. I'm not one of them. I'm just an OEST. I just shoot. Well, it was boarding action when all that happened. Whatever happened. And I'm glad you guys showed up before I was sliced in half by one of those infernal split jaws.
I'm glad we found you, buddy, even if we couldn't get the rest of your crew.
Yeah, it was worthless. It was not gonna happen anyway. They were all gone by the time you arrived. Long
What
gone.
happened? What? if the Covenant finds out there are other humans out here, other humans outside of your civilization reach, are they going to try and kill them too?
I suppose they would. I don't know how they would find out, but they really don't like humanity.
Why?
For some...
Well,
I have no idea. It seems like they had all these species, you know? Those little guys with the stupid gas tanks on their back, the little bird assholes with their stinking energy shields, not to mention their snipers. So, why didn't I go down to those? And
a
split
collective
jaws.
alliance of alien species specifically united to kill humans.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't understand it. And all these guys, even those useless guys, even those buggers too, and those apes, and yet they come across humanity and we're the ones that they decide to wipe out?
That's aliens for you. The first time we cracked, I'm the way I got here was my version of humanity was going. It was the test of our very first FTL engine, and we were supposed. It created a wormhole not only across time, not only across space, but apparently also across time. Linearly. That word tastes funny in the processors.
You're programmed to make medical error? Never mind.
It's a glitch. It happens. They've been happening a little more frequently since I got this B2 brain up in here. So what happened was our ship made the wormhole. We went through it and we came out too close to the planet. And because our ship wasn't made to, it's not made for in-atmospheric travel, you see, so it got torn up in orbit. Well, some parts of it got torn up. I got thrown out into the desert where some alien life found me. And the first thing they try to do is attack me with nets and spears, and they didn't want to talk at all, and they had these weird little stun cannons. So I set about bashing their heads in. And then they finally cornered me in like this little alcove or something. It was a hole in the ground is what it was. And after that, they hauled... Miss Lonnie was there, Miss Conway. You can ask her about that. They hauled us away to a coliseum, and then they had us fight a giant dragon, a little bit smaller than Felipe, I think. And yeah, there was a big alien warlord there who had a captive human princess, of course. I don't know what it is about aliens, but they just seem to hate us. Hate you. I say us because, well, humanity made me. I'd like to count myself as part of humanity, but yeah.
Well, did that, how do you trust that, whatever creature that is?
Koronov?
Enough? Yeah.
Koronov? I don't. He's an arms dealer. He's a useful asset, I'll give him that. But his loyalty to SGC has yet to be proven. If it even can be. I mean, he's not human, right? He'll ultimately, he will, on a fundamental level, he will never be able to fully relate to us, to you.
Yeah. You know, I used to crack down on a few arms dealers and other insurrectionists. Feels like that was long before the Covenant. Doing that would be a vacation nowadays.
Maybe you'll still get to do it.
I'm so lucky.
I mean, we can always talk to SGC Command about getting involved in your war.
No. If we can have a chance of, well, you know, not letting those Covenant bastards get over here, we ought to take it.
Humanity needs to stand together, though.
Right, but there's not much of humanity left over there. If they're still around. For all I know, that slip space malfunction could have taken years.
Years?
Again, I'm not sure. I'm not one of the techs with the engineers. I just shoot things. But I do know that they tell us to go to cryo sleep, and the mission clock says whatever it says, and then we come out, and it's days later, and of course the freaking Covenant are always there already. Because somehow they managed to go faster through space.
Regardless, the SGC needs to know about this then. If there's an enemy out there who is truly intent on wiping out humanity the same way that the Gould and I don't know. They've fought so many already. The galaxy is a very hostile place.
Well, to be fair, I guess you guys did split apart Vanguard and Liberty very quickly. So I guess maybe you do have a chance. But our ships are always pretty weak to those Coveys anyway.
Well, I think our ships, you might find them a little bit different.
I can see that so far. Like I said, you did destroy what remained of Vanguard. But
yeah. I don't know where we're going, but you're with us now, and we're with you.
Well, I appreciate that, for what it's worth. Won't be like my old unit, but that'll suffice.
That was really good.
Mm-hmm.
My gosh.
I really did not want to
I
interrupt
like
that at all.
that. That was awesome.
You two are really good actors.
That was awesome.
That was
I didn't know I was
wonderful.
capable of that.
I gotta hear more of that sometime.
Talk to Koronov about the Trade Federation. Talk to Lonnie about SGC history. Who are the ancients?
Oh,
Ah,
all right.
you feel qualified to answer that question?
Yeah, may as well.
All right.
Let's
All
give
right,
her
so
some character building.
after he's done, like, he gives Angel a pat on the back and, like, kind of
Thwack.
wanders off to go find Lonnie.
You know, that was just everybody in adjacent rooms are just here ting because this armor is titanium plating. At least. And I know you're made of metal.
Yeah.
Lonnie,
Ping, ping.
Lonnie kind of looks up, like she's jolted out of her thoughts. She's been sitting on the floor, and you'd think she's not really doing anything. Her eyes are closed. It kind of looks like she's like trying to sleep, but she's not sleeping.
Yeah,
She's meditating.
Along here.
So she looks up when she hears the sound of that thump, and then she sees Walt, like lumbering over, and she's like, "Hey, Walt, what's up?"
Hey, Miss Lonnie, I've just got some questions for you, if I can borrow a minute of your time.
Hey,
You look
Go
kinda
for it.
tired.
Come sit.
Am I allowed to be part of this conversation?
Sure.
Sure.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm like, yeah, sure. And I pat the ground next to me, and I'm like, sit with me. I don't feel like getting up.
Walt kind of attempts to sit down, and so his legs can't bend the right way to, like, sit cross legs, so he just kind of huddles up in a ball.
Probably gonna be like set down in the corner somewhere.
You know
Close
what?
enough that we can talk. But...
You know what?
Okay.
I mimic Walt, and I draw my knees up by my chest, and I'm like leaning on them, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"What's up, buddy?"
Okay, I will be right back. I actually need to go to the bathroom, so I will.
Oh, okay.
Timing.
Yes. I kind of have to as well. Here,
Go
Megan,
for
I'm gonna
it.
squeeze my.
I can just get up.
Okay.
Yeah. Like for reference, Dan and I are in a very tiny area.
You can continue your conversation, and I'll be back.
Okay.
I mean, we could if two of us weren't in the bathroom.
Well, Dan doesn't need to talk, but
That's true.
we'll wait for Eli. In the meantime, I have my crocheting, and I've been crocheting all session.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Have you always been doing that?
I've
Like all these sessions?
no, I'm picking up crocheting. Actually, it's to make Christmas presents for people.
Oh,
But
that's
I've been
awesome.
picking up crocheting again because I kind of know how and I want to learn more. So this is a new
Nice.
thing as of a couple weeks ago.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So I'm currently making a yellow scarf.
Awesome.
Oh. And since Walt is having a little bit of trouble sitting down, Lonnie just kind of chills out and waits. She closes her eyes again. She's just
and
focusing.
Angel's just gonna sit there, kind of not saying anything. Close enough to be in the conversation, but still distant.
Yeah. Then, like, Lonnie cracks an eye open and looks at him a little bit, but when he doesn't say anything, she doesn't say anything. She just keeps on meditating.
And luckily, and normally, it'd be, you know that moment when you're near someone and you accidentally make eye contact with them? Like someone you don't know?
Yeah.
That's basically what Angel would have experienced if his visor wasn't activated. And so, you know, it's like having sunglasses on.
Like, he makes eye contact, but Lonnie doesn't know.
Yeah, Lonnie would probably not have too much of an idea.
No. So Lonnie's just on meditating while Angel gets freaked out at the sudden eye contact.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, isn't Lonnie also wearing sunglasses of some sort?
No, those are just
No?
in the image. She's not actually wearing them at the moment. Her hair's down. It's very loose. Like, she took it down after the fight because her hair was an absolute rat's nest. And it still kind of is, but she's just not dealing with it, so it's just kind of a mess. But
Okay.
also, it's grown out a little bit since that image was taken. Like, her professional photos have her hair much shorter than it actually is because it's grown out during the course of their adventures. It's several inches longer now.
But still within regulation.
Yeah, within regulation because usually it's like tied up in an Air Force quality bun. But she just got done with a huge fight, riding on the back of a dinosaur, basically.
That you had to leave behind.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to leave Felipe behind. Anyway, she's just waiting for Walt to talk.
Okay. I had a few questions about, like, SGC history, so I know, there were the Goa'uld, and then, the Jaffa who served them, and I remember we fought a few of those guys.
Yeah.
And then I was also doing some records, or some research, because want to know what the SGC, want to know what I might be fighting. And I keep seeing references to the Ancients, like it says the Asgard worked with the Ancients, and it says the Goa'uld stole tech from the Ancients. Who are the Ancients?
The Ancients. The Ancients.
The ancestors of Earth.
No, I know. Hold on, one question for Dan. So, the Ancients are, to be perfectly frank, we're still not entirely sure. What I can tell you is they are essentially the ancestors to the human species.
Really?
And so they're, like, have you ever heard of evolution? Is that something that your timeline talked about?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so that concept is kind of a little bit skewed. Because species do have ancestors, and they can be different, but not entirely so. The Ancients are kind of like that. They are kind of like humans, but only to a point. And the thing about an Ancient is that you can actually still become one, which is really weird.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
What are the differences?
Basically, the Ancients have ascended and humans haven't. So...
Ascended?
Yeah. Oh gosh, nobody really understands the methodology or how exactly it works. I wish I could tell you, like, perfectly, but there's no scientific laws about it.
Okay.
Yeah, but here's the thing, we do have records of one specific person ascending, and that's about all I can tell you. I can tell you what happened to him. His name was Dr. Daniel Jackson, and he is affectionately referred to as a senior researcher at SGC. He's from the original SG-1 team. He was the guy who started the Stargate. He's the guy who got it to run. He's the guy, frankly, he's the first SG guy dumb enough to marry a woman from another planet and move there.
The first?
Yeah, there are others. One of my best friends back from boot camp did that. He's kind of an idiot,
Wow.
but, you know, if he wanted to, he wanted to. Daniel Jackson figured out how to ascend. I don't entirely know the specifics. It's been a long time since I heard the story. But he figured out how to access a higher plane of existence and became an ancient. And that gave him kind of like a fourth dimensional power, and like he knew he knew a lot of stuff that we don't know. Yeah.
That reminds me of so in my timeline, the first so when Earth was dying because of the blight, there was a wormhole, the very first wormhole that opened up around what was it, Jupiter, Saturn, so somewhere out that way, and it was done by these fourth dimensional beings who could like manipulate gravity and stuff.
Gravity.
And it turned out that they were also human, that they were humans from the future.
What? Humans from the future
Yeah.
know how to control gravity in your timeline?
Apparently, that's what the report from that's what the report of one guy said.
Oh, but in our timeline, we haven't even been able to conclusively prove that the gravitons exist, let alone control gravity. As far as we understand, it's a force that we just haven't been able to define.
Oh, in my timeline, Dr. Cooper figured out the gravity equation.
The gravity equation.
Yep.
And what's that?
Well, I don't have it. I'm just a simple navigational droid, although I guess I'm a little bit more than that now.
I'd say you're more than a simple navigational droid now.
So I don't know what the gravity equation is, but what it does is it lets us manipulate gravity to a certain extent. It lets us make gravity.
Make gravity.
Or not make it. Or anti-gravity, that's the word.
It lets you control anti-gravity?
Manipulate gravity, control anti-gravity, whatever.
Same thing, right?
I'm still not too clear on the specific. I'm not too clear on the specifics of it. Which, although it sounds like it's what saved humanity in my timeline actually, because it let them leave Earth on these giant kind of cylinder stations.
Oh, those are kind of like the ship we found you from, right?
Yep. We do a lot of cylinders.
Except for you, you're built of like kids' toy blocks.
Yep.
That's kind of cool. For some reason, our timeline is obsessed with making our robots look like people. It's kind of unnerving.
Yeah, Uncanny Valley and all that.
Yeah, like not to say that artificial sentience like doesn't mean as much as I can't say real sentience. That's not right. But like people, like, but they take it too far.
So there are other synthetic beings here?
To an extent. I don't think there are any on the Freya. Except for maybe some scanning droids, or maybe some...
But I mean like other synthetic intelligences.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's a bunch. There's a couple that even everyday humans have access to. They've got names
Really?
like Siri, Cortana, Alexa.
Oh well, yeah, those are all ancient by our standards.
Yeah.
Not thinking ones, though. Not ones like me.
Yeah, no, we don't really have anything on your level yet. It's something that I'd love to see, but frankly, I don't think any people from Earth are going to get access to technology that allows them to do that for the next 50, 100 years, maybe longer.
What about you, Mr. Angel? You got any synthetic intelligences where you come from?
Well, some. It doesn't sound like they're nearly as advanced as what you guys have, either of you, or you yourself. I say like reading the lettering on the on your chassis,
Like
on
you
your
didn't know his name
front
before?
plates, because
You
I
just
haven't
kinda
actually
like-
really realized it.
Yeah, you just kind of like tilt your head sideways, Walt.
Yeah, and I don't even, and I say that not even knowing if it's your actual name, just going by whatever's on the painted on there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, We had some, mostly dumb AI that ran cities. Basically just, we called them superintendents. Really, you wouldn't really have too much interaction with them, right? If you were just kind of going about your business, but they did their job. And some ships very rarely had a smart AI, but they only last for about 7 years, I hear. And then they had to be dispensed, and I guess we get a new one at that point. Never followed the logistics.
Wait, why?
7 years?
Do they like do they become obsolete or
They deteriorate.
like how so?
I
Do
actually
they
don't
like
know
start to
if
go
anyone
insane?
knows. I don't know what's all behind it. As far as I know, they're cloned from some dead person. They usually have a silly getup, and they're holograms. But yeah, I guess that our tech isn't advanced enough to make them last longer than 7 years. They just start to mentally deteriorate and kind of break down.
That sounds like something from science fiction.
Science.
Yeah.
What is it?
You don't know what science fiction is?
I know what it is, but my idea of how that all works has been changed now that I'm here. I guess it was changed when we found the Covenant.
That's fair.
Everybody do the work.
Yeah, well, to get back on our original topic, the ancients are like humans plus. They're basically human plus. And like if you imagine a person take their intellect, take their power over the universe and like energy and matter and multiply it by some, it's probably a constant. Multiply it by some sort of constant and you end up with an ancient. And the way that's done, nobody really truly understands yet.
They were around. They were around like how long ago? You said thousands, millions of years.
Millions of years ago, millions. Like long before human civilization on my Earth got advanced enough to create technology, and they were making things more advanced than ours. Like wherever humans came from when we split off from the ancients, we got a downgrade. And
I wouldn't count y'all out just yet.
aw, thanks. Yeah, but suffice to say, the ancients are also kind of stuck up. Daniel Jackson left quite a few records talking about how awful they were and how terrible they treat people. So they think we're subservient. I mean, obviously we're not quite as awesome as them, but they really think we're kind of scum of the earth. Scum of the universe, really.
Oh,
I feel bad.
Yeah, so, to answer your question, they're ancient jerks who knew a lot more about the universe than we did, and I'm kind of glad they're gone. Because at least my people exist because they're gone.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Thank you, Miss Lonnie.
You're welcome, Walt. Any other questions?
Nope. None from me, Mr. Angel. How about you?
Got nothing.
All right, then.
All right, you hear a knock on the door, and you open it up to see one of the lieutenants. He says, Colonel Cole sent me to let you know that we are only about an hour away from Earth, so we'll be pulling into Earth space and beaming you down within around about an hour.
Cool.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
What? I've got a question. Okay, so does the Freya have like a workshop or anything? Okay. Well, it's gonna be like, oh, okay. I'll catch y'all later. That reminds me, I have I've gotten an idea for a project that I want to put together. I'll be back.
A project? Okay.
Yep.
I kind of
so
watch
he's
him
gonna-
lumber away, and I'm like, huh. Kind of a strange question to ask me.
Stompity stomp 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 stomp.
I am assuming that this conversation was full of a bunch of other stuff and it took a really long time. And that's why you're close to Earth. It should take about a full day almost.
A lot of debating of history and technology, I'd say.
It's so messy, the transportation time between here and Earth, because I never set that in stone, so.
Oh well.
Don't matter none.
It don't matter.
I think I'm gonna say that's a really good end. It's about to end.
Sick.